Ready to go at Buffalo. Don Criqui with John Brody. The matchup between these two defending AFC divisional champions, the Buffalo Bills and Nick Mickemeyer. Ready to kick it off, the Cleveland Browns, with Dino Hall back along with Greg Pruitt. Mickemeyer into the ball, and the football game is underway. Dino Hall says no. 4 yards deep, it comes out to the 20. So the Browns go on offense, 1st and 10 from their 20. Brian Sipe, most valuable player in the National Football League a season ago, comes out to lead the offense. His runners, Charles White and Big Mike Pruitt. His receivers, there's some great one talent in there. Dave Logan, Reggie Rucker, the wideouts, Ozzie Newsome with 42 receptions at tight end. A change in a good offensive line. DeLeon and our Pro Bowl center is out with a fractured ankle. Jerry Sullivan goes in to play center for Cleveland today against Smerlis, Buffalo's Pro Bowl middle guard. So it's 1st and 10 for the Browns. With a run, and Pruitt doesn't get a thing. Big back from Purdue is knocked down hard at the line of scrimmage. Ben Williams, 77, was the first to come through and hit him. The Bills defensively were number 1 in the NFL last year. They're number 2 right now. And that's their front 3, Williams, Smerlis, and Sherman White. The linebackers, the key. Sanford, Hazlitt, Nelson, and Isaiah Robertson. Mario Clark and Charles Romes play the corners. Steve Freeman and Bill Simpson, the XLA Ram, the safeties. 2nd down and 9. Pruitt got a yard. Sipe gets time, puts it up, comes in on the 1 hop. Big rush against Brian Sipe. Mario Clark covering on the play. Let's watch.
You're going to see a day. Here's Doug Deacon, number 73, with Sherman White, number 83. It'll be a one-on-one matchup all day long, and the reason it'll be so is because they respect Smerlis and Williams so much. They want to give Sipe time. They're going to try and create a situation where Buffalo must send linebackers or defensive backs in order to get pressure on Sipe. They're putting a big responsibility on Deacon because he's going to be able to get no help.
John, as you know, he didn't allow a sack all of last season. Doug Deacon, left tackle for Cleveland. Pitch back. Here comes Pruitt. Good movement from the linebacker position from the free safety. Simpson coming up quickly. A knockdown is made on a 3rd and 9 play, and Cleveland fails to move the ball on its first attempt from scrimmage. They'll punt it to Buffalo.
Real good defensive play by Simpson. You'll notice that Jeff Nixon's had a lot of problem getting back in the lineup. He had so many interceptions in the first couple games last year. They were already touting him for All-Pro. He went down. Simpson came in. Since that time, he's played not only consistent, but consistently outstanding.
They like this young man, Steve Cox, rookie punter from Arkansas.
I'd like him too.
43 yards a pop. Byron Franklin and Roland Hooks are back for Buffalo. Good look at one of the tough jobs in football, the deep snap. Cox gets time, doesn't hit it too well though. Kind of off the side of his foot. Does take a Cleveland roll though, inside the 35, inside the 30, and it keeps on rolling all the way. Look at this. Down to the 19-yard line, so what started out as a rather errant punt turns out to be a beauty.
And the funny thing is, Don, last week they let 3 balls go. They lost about 45 yards. That punt turned into a 55-yarder, but in defense of Franklin and the other punt returner, they had no play on the ball. It was a shank kick, hit about 25 yards down the field, and rolled. That's a bad break.
Joe Ferguson, 16 touchdown throws. Goes at quarterback for Buffalo. Joe Cribbs and Curtis Brown as runners. Butler and Lewis, great wideouts are in there. So is Mark Kramer, a very solid tight end out of Michigan State. And one of the best offensive lines in the game have given up in the first half of the season just 5 sacks. 1st and 10. First back, Joe Cribbs. He's tough. John Marty Schottenheimer, the defensive coordinator for Cleveland, said before the game, the key to this game is can we stop Joe Cribbs? Because if he runs, then Ferguson's going to throw.
And more than that, Don, you're right. If they stop Joe Cribbs, it forces them to get in a few 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 7. Well, remember, Cleveland is the best nickel defense in the league. They've allowed the opposition only 27% completions for 3rd downs. So, yeah, I'd say the key is Joe Cribbs.
This time they go to Curtis Brown on a 2nd down and 5 play. And Curtis Brown is across the 25 to only about the 26. Bruce Huther, who's starting at one of the linebacker spots for Robert L. Jackson, who's out with a hamstring, was there to make the play for Cleveland. We're in the first quarter. 80,000 here at Rich Stadium. Good weather in western New York, 58 degrees, sunny skies. 13 minutes to go in the first quarter. Buffalo with its first possession. 3rd down and 3 coming up for the Bills. Ron Jesse goes in as an extra wide receiver. Bills go to the shotgun. Ferguson usually drops way back from the shotgun. He's already 6 yards back. This time he's going to the run. Here comes Joe Cribb. Gets a block, puts a move on. Gets him up for a first down. Joe Cribb with a great move eluded a tackler who appeared to have him.
That's about the only thing you can do, Don, if you're playing out of the shotgun and you want to run the ball. The contain is taken away. He gives the ball to Cribbs. They'd love to run the ball wide against Cleveland. Everybody would. It's hard to do. They do shut down the middle, so if you have an opportunity to get wide, this is a perfect time.
So they get the first down, 1st and 10 out to the 31-yard line. The Bills failed to score a touchdown last week against a great Denver defense, but still won the game 9-7. They had a lot of yards but couldn't get it in the end zone. This time they'll go nowhere. Curtis Brown, a small fullback, 205 pounds. On 1st and 10, doesn't get much. Lyle Alzado gets him.
We saw a new man in the action. Lyle Alzado, who was great at Denver for a number of years, has really been a catalyst on this defense, but he hasn't been healthy. Somebody mentioned last week that he had 7 individual tackles, and anytime this man's healthy, he's going to be around the ball. He hasn't been early in the season. If he stays healthy, you can bet defensively Cleveland will be better.
Well, he had a problem with a leg muscle pull. That's pretty much healed now, so Lyle is starting to come on. The right end. It's 2nd down and 9 now for Buffalo. Ferguson deep drop, 12 yards deep, guns the ball down off the hands of his intended receiver, Frank Lewis, who doesn't let many get by. Lewis in the midst of a great year for Buffalo. Watch Lyle Alzado come on the rush.
If I had my druthers of what position I wouldn't want to play, it would be where number 72 Ken Jones is. Every week he draws some kind of a tiger. Last week it was Rulon Jones. This week it's Lyle Alzado. Up and down the whole National Football League, I think you'll see more great right ends than you will any other position.
And Joe Devlin, Buffalo's right tackle, number 70. The Browns rate him as the best offensive lineman on Buffalo. You don't hear much about these Bills tackles, but they are superior. It's 3rd down and 9 now for the Bills. 3rd and 9. He's got time. He's got a man, but Joe Cribbs can't hang on. With him was Clay Matthews. So the Bills come up empty on their first try. For getting a first down, they're unable to convert a second time.
Well, the game plan is simple. What you do is you get a one-on-one situation. You've got Jesse, and you've also got Cribbs. Jesse, it looks like, has his man beaten. But really, the play is very well covered by the defensive man. Judson Flint, one-on-one with Jesse, gets in the line so Ferguson can't see him. He comes off to Cribbs, who also had a step. But that's pretty good defensive coverage.
The wind is behind Greg Cater as he hits a high point. Not too long, but it's way up. Takes a Buffalo hop. Goes down inside the 25-yard line. Browns have a tough row to hoe. It looks like the Executioner made out their schedule in the weeks ahead. At Buffalo today, at Denver next week, then on to San Francisco, home to play Pittsburgh, and then Cincinnati. It's not easy. Sam Rutigliano, the Cleveland coach, says, I don't like vanilla. I'll take chances. Houston working on tightening up that AFC Central a little more. Stable just threw to Mike Renfro from 25 yards out. Oilers lead the Bengals 7-0. Ryan Syke, one of the great bargains ever in the draft. 13th round. He came out of San Diego State. Last year he was the NFL's most valuable player. 1st and 10 now for Cleveland as Rucker comes in motion. Charles White. Southern California sweep, but the Bills stuff it. Hazlitt and Nelson, the inside backers got him.
They've stuffed everything Cleveland's run at them in the first series of plays. I don't think you'll see much more of this. Now, when they played Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, they started off running the ball. They pushed the Pittsburgh defensive line right off the line of scrimmage. It is not happening today. You can see Hazlitt coming up to make the play at the line of scrimmage. Ben Williams held his ground against 2 offensive blockers. They're going to have to get back to their personality, fire it, and let's see what happens.
Come out gunning, and that's what Brian Syke will do. He really last week set an all-time Cleveland record, broke the record set by Otto Graham. Mike Pruitt breaks the crust on a 2nd and 8 play, gets across the 30 and out close to the 33-yard line where Shane Nelson knocked him down. 3rd down coming up, 3rd and short for Cleveland.
All passing downs. You know Smerlis is coming after the ball, after the quarterback. That's Jerry Sullivan, his first ball game at center. However, you get a little blinded in there when there's 18, 19 people running around. The back has an easy time picking a hole.
They're down and 2 for the Cleveland Browns in a scoreless game first quarter. Power formation. Double tight ends. They go to the big back. The fullback throw it, turns the corner. Buffalo knocks him back. It's going to be close. See where they spot the ball.
It's close, but it's short, Don. When you get a guy like Pruitt and you get him wide and you think you've spread things out, you expect to pick up a first down. But not when you have Shane Nelson and Bill Simpson hitting them at the line of scrimmage. That's just good, aggressive pursuit.
You know, John, something the average fan often wonders. You take a team like Cleveland averaging 4 yards a rush here. They have inches to go for a first down. Why wouldn't they chance it? Percentages are against you?
Well, because it can change the whole flow of a football game, Don. If you miss here, Buffalo goes in and scores. They're playing at home. The fans get a little rowdy. Everybody's happy. And it's all because of one play. You'd rather let it go a little longer in the ball game.
The high punt downfield. Roland Hooks fields it at the 20. Roland dips in, goes back up the middle, and takes it to the 31. 46-yard punt, 10-yard return. Steve Cox doing his job well for the Browns as Brian Sipe comes to the sideline while the Buffalo Bill offense comes out, and we'll be back at sold-out Rich Stadium after this. With John Brody, this is Don Criqui back at Buffalo. The Bills and the Browns scoreless in the first quarter, 9:19 to play in it. Joe Ferguson directed his team to one first down in its first possession. They couldn't convert the second time. Neither offense able to move consistently here early in this game. Here's Joe Cribbs turning upfield. Cribbs on a 1st and 10 carry takes it out to the 36-yard line. He got 4.
Don, you want to see a good play? You know, you mentioned Joe Devlin doesn't get much credit. You don't see much of him. You don't see much of him because he always does his job effectively. Now look at the job he does on Harris. Not only does he stand him up, he turns him the way he wants to turn him. He allows Cribbs to pick a hole with no pursuit. That's what you call effective.
And as we were mentioning, John, they said the defensive game plan was to stop Cribbs running. He's run 3 times, he's gained 15 yards. Marshall, Bradley, and Alzado across the defensive front of the Cleveland Browns. Outside backers come up. Cribbs again. This time the Browns are there. Stung at the line of scrimmage, then Bruce Huther finishes him off. 8:31 to go in the first quarter. Now let's go to New York and Byron Day. Byron?
Down at Riverfront Stadium, the Oilers are trying to make it 7 straight over the Bengals, and they're off to an early lead. Stabler hitting Mike Renfro on a 25-yard touchdown pass. Oilers in front early in the first quarter, 7-zip. Done?
All right, and here in Buffalo we have no score with 8:11 to play in the first quarter. Buffalo Bills with the ball. 3rd down, 7 to go for the first down. Ball through 34. Go to the shotgun on 3rd down. Lewis right, Butler left. Ferguson has some time. Lets her go long. Got a man out there. Lewis catches the ball across midfield. He's down to the 42-yard line. This guy's been around for 100 years, 11 actually, and he's never played better.
What a pattern he ran, Don. Frank Lewis, I guess I'm his fan club, but the man gives the quarterback room to throw the ball when he makes his break. He's a right flanker. He comes down, jumps to the middle, but when he comes to the outside, he gives Joe enough room to lead him away from the defenders. Always has that extra step to work with. Ferguson, with his accuracy, isn't going to need it very often, but he's always got it. Now you can see Joe Cribbs, Clay Matthews, they're going to be like this all day long.
Matthews looked pretty good there, but as you saw, the ball went the other way for a 24-yard gain and a first down. Here's another open
again.
Ball's in the air, though, as Lewis drops the ball. Frank Lewis open in the middle of the Cleveland defense. Dick Ambrose popped him, but the ball was right on his hand, so it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Don, it happens a lot to a receiver when he knows he's past his open area. That time, Joe didn't pick him up quite in time. Lewis was through the area. He has been open for 4 or 5 steps. When he does come, the receiver knows it's late. It really takes a lot of attention to keep your to keep your eyes on the ball.
Tom Darden and Clarence Scott, the safeties for the Browns. Hanford Dixon at one corner. Ron Bolton at the other. Bears leading 3-0. 2nd down and 10 now. now for Buffalo as the bright sunshine breaks through. Ferguson, he's going to do something because he's got a problem. Again, he throws a fastball that Frank Lewis can't hold on to.
Frank's dropped a couple balls early, but you know why? That play looked like a broken play that was going to end up in a fine situation. It was stopped because Clay Matthews was man-to-man on Joe Krebs. Didn't let him get out into the screen. As a result, this is an option. Ferguson had enough time to slide around to the right. Frank didn't come up with it again. Okay, they want to run a screen pass here. You can see here's the two linemen coming out underneath. Krebs is trying to get outside. Matthews won't let him. He tries to make the best he can out of a bad situation. Ferguson's gone. Almost makes a big... Whoops! Byron Franklin coming out to his position. Rolled over and fell down. Sometimes it's tough before you get there.
It's 3rd down and 10 now for Buffalo. Byron tripped over the 45-yard line. Ferguson, lead pass. There's a man, Butler. Well, I'll tell you, you've got to have a heart as big as a lion to go in the middle of all that and leap up. Woo! Bad things can happen when you fly into the middle of a zone like that. Bills come up empty after getting the big gainer. Ferguson, 1 for 6 throwing the ball, but as we've seen, he's really been much better than that. They've been not able to hold on to a few. Greg Cater to punt for Buffalo for second time. Here's a guy that's raised his punting average 7 yards in the season.
And he relates it to his center.
Alvers, a center from Miami of Florida, sends it back like a rocket. Watch this punt snap. Hit it high. It's going to be interesting when it does come down.
If it does.
Yep. Got it inside the 20, down to the 19. A couple of leftovers from Halloween here. We're going to see some beauties before this day is out. We'll be back to Buffalo after this. Here we are in our little roost high above Rich Stadium. 80,000 are here as the Bills trying to stop these Cleveland Browns. And Cleveland ready to go on offense, 1st and 10.
I feel like this is home. I've been here 8 times in the last 2 years.
Ball at the 19-yard line. Brian Sipe in the flat and coming out. Tight end Ozzie Newsome. He's having some year. Big Ozzie from Muscle Shoals, Alabama. The Bears watching him down in Tuscaloosa today.
Ryan Sipe got up a little slow, Donnie, because they did put some pressure on 1st down, sending Haslett right up the middle. It's a very hard throw to make, and you leave yourself defenseless. When you fire the ball to the left, you have absolutely no protection. A good linebacker that gets there quick enough knows right where to put his shoulder pads, and it does smart.
But the end result on the completion is a 9-yard gain, so it's 2nd and 1. Atlanta leading New Orleans 3-0. 2nd down and a long one, almost 2. Handoff goes. Big Mike Pruitt, as fast as any player in the Cleveland team at 227 pounds, tried to juke his way ahead. He got the 1st down. Sherman White and Ben Williams got it.
That's just a simple power offside tackle run. Ben Williams is going to get... He's going to get as much as he can from Cody Rison, but throughout most of the day, Ben Williams has a lot of respect. He'll have 2 people on him whenever he's pass rushing, and he'll be a little sore at the day's end.
These two teams know each other well, John. They had a preseason scrimmage, the rookies and free agents. Played 2 preseason games against each other. So there are not many secrets out in the field. Ryan Sipe on 1st and 10 has to scramble. They close in, and he throws it away wisely. Right into row A. Sherman White was looming close.
I guess you could call that an errant throw, but it was exactly where he aimed it. When you get this much time and you can't find a receiver open, you can see Sherman White's coming in to get him. He thinks the ball might be thrown on a screen, which is where Brian would have liked to have put it. Downfield, he sees nothing, puts it right out in the cheap seats. 2nd and 10.
Brian didn't even want to chance somebody on the Buffalo bench catching that one. 1 for 3 now, Sipe for 8 yards. 2nd and 10. Over the middle, he's got a man open. The ball is tipped and it's intercepted. Bill Simpson intercepted, tipped ball.
That ball's called dead because
the ruling is dead at midfield.
Well, Feature and Simpson had contact when Simpson caught the ball.
It was a tip ball, and Bill Simpson, who's done that so many times in his great career, both at Los Angeles now in his second season here at Buffalo, gets the ball back for the Bills.
What an opportunist. This time Sipe has feature over the middle, but it's an outstanding linebacker play. Really, Groves is playing in the middle, playing the ball. He's really playing as a linebacker right now. One-on-one on feature. He tips it up, gets Simpson an interception, and they've got it 1st and 10, just short of midfield.
And we'll be back after this. Back and set to go. Bill Simpson, who answered the call of his old coach Chuck Knox. Bill had been retired for over a season. Came back in a 3 days practice last year after a couple of Buffalo safeties got hurt. Played in extraordinary fashion the rest of this year, with key factor in Buffalo winning the division. And he just made his second interception of this season, so Buffalo now in a 1st and 10 play goes to the run and gets the ball down to the 48-yard line of Cleveland. Falcons, smarting from a loss last week, open up a 10-0 lead. Wallace Francis, a wide receiver on an end around, took it in from 8 yards out. 2nd down and 9 for Buffalo. No score on the board here at Rich Stadium. Clock running, 5:53 to play in the first quarter. Lewis is wide right. Jerry Butler on the left lane. Joe Cribbs, nothing there. A lot of brown shirts sweep Joe Cribbs under after a short gain, John.
You know, twice they've had the proper call against the play that was coming on out of the huddle, and it happens because you get a pretty good read on the personality of a football team. They would like to control the ball. The last time Clarence Scott stuffed it by containing up front. This was a safety blitz. All the linebackers on a safety blitz are checking it right in their holes. They're there just as the ball is snapped. Can't make much yardage when they guess right. They've done it twice. It's 3rd and 7.
3rd and 7, the numbers as the Bills go from scrimmage at the 46-yard line of Cleveland. No score on the board, first quarter. Shotgun, Jesse in the game. Over the middle, Jerry Butler's open. Joe Cribbs also running the over-the-middle pattern, a shorter pattern, can't hold on to the ball. So the Bills come up empty again. Let's swing back to New York now to Byron Day.
Down in the Orange Bowl, the Colts have lost 7 straight. Looks like they may be on the road to losing their 8th. Wiggly banging it over from 3 yards out. Dolphins on top early in the first quarter, 7-0. Let's go back to Don Criqui and John Brody.
Thank you, Byron. Here at Buffalo, the Bills ready to punt the ball back to Cleveland. Dino Hall is standing back at his 10-yard line. There's Greg Cater ready to hit it for the Bills.
So far, Don, both defenses have done exactly what they want.
Neither passing game has been untracked yet. Dino Hall fields the ball at his 10. He's a gutty little guy, and he's trouble if they get in that lane. Dino Hall shoots out to the 21. Next Sunday, join host Brian Gumbel for NFL 81. All the highlights, the scores, the late-breaking news from all the games. Then an NFL doubleheader featuring 3 key matchups. Oakland versus Houston, Cincinnati at San Diego, and these Cleveland Browns. On that tough schedule of theirs, head to Denver to play the Broncos. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area. Next Sunday on NBC NFL 81, a doubleheader day.
Don, it's getting so that every week you find 4 or 5 matchups.
Teams are having a lot of trouble maintaining momentum, aren't they, this year?
That's because they've got people to maintain it against, and everybody's getting pretty even.
A lot of parity now. That's what they're shooting for, and they have it. Here's Brian Sipe on first down. Over the middle. Wrong side of Greg Pruitt. The Do-It Pruitt, not to be confused with the Big Pruitt. No relation, Mike Pruitt, the fullback. Greg Pruitt catches the ball about as well as any back who's ever come out of a backfield. Great hands. Boomer Sooner from Oklahoma. Played a lot of years and knee problems, had those great seasons rushing and catching, and now has come back from the knee problems, a very effective spot player in the passing game. And the Cleveland offense is the passing game. 2nd down and 10 now for Sipe and the Browns. They don't go to the shotgun, though. Sipe stands in, throws downfield, and Buffalo almost gets another one. Mario Clark coming up on the ball. A very well-played defense. Sipe's numbers now, John, 1 for 6 for just 8 yards.
I think really they're fooling Brian at this point in the ball game, Don. They're playing a zone defense, but they're playing their corners real tight. Well, Brian knows how to beat a zone. He just throws it through those lanes, gets Logan, gets Rucker into the area that is left by the zone defense, but the cornerbacks are playing him so tight he's going to have to go down the field. He hasn't thrown it down the field more than 15 yards yet, but I think he's going to have to.
Rutigliano feels his Browns have to get the ball upfield in a hurry to be effective against a defense like this. They've got to bust Buffalo's defense with a big play. Now it's 3rd down and 10 for the Cleveland Browns. From their 21. The rush is on. Slight gets it away, and Ozzie Newsome dives at the ball but can't hold on at the 32. And again, the defense's hold.
Buffalo has mixed up their coverage very well. That time it looked like Ozzie Newsome would be man-to-man on a strong safety. He can't. He's having a little problem with the linebacker. He's number 82. He makes a move, has to come out to the right side. Sipe waited just long enough, but the receivers haven't come down with the critical throws. So we see the punters in there quite a bit of the time.
Yes, we do. There's Steve Coxton, the deep men back for Buffalo. Roland Hooks and Byron Franklin. Hits the ball again, not too long. Roland Hooks lets it roll, and it rolls well for Cleveland, going out of bounds. The Buffalo 37. So the Bills take over for another possession with relatively good field position. A 41-yard punt with the roll. 4:22 showing on the first quarter clock, and no score on the board. Cleveland 0 for 3 on 3rd down conversions.
All right, Buffalo has really had the best of it as far as field position is concerned. How many times have you seen a team get the ball in good field position 3 or 4 times in a row? If they don't put any points on the board, the whole momentum will switch.
They have the wide receivers going to either side. Frank Lewis to the right. Butler to the left. You see Joe Cribbs as that wing back to the left. They go to the run. Straight ahead carry by Curtis Brown. Dances the ball across the 40, about to the 41-yard line. He got about 3. Dick Ambrose, good inside linebacker, was the man who made the stop for Cleveland, 52. The Browns and the Bills have been playing football on and off since 1946, and they were both charter members of the old All-America Conference. The Browns, of course, were invited into the National Football League in 1950. Pro football in Buffalo went out of business, so the American Football League came in 1960. But every time they play here in Buffalo or in Cleveland, there's 80,000 at the game. 30,000 here from Cleveland. Joe Cribbs on 2nd and 7 doesn't get a thing. Clarence Scott, the strong safety, came up and ran him down as the Cleveland defense moving laterally very well.
Again, Scott is the man that's responsible for containment. They're playing a zone in which it's an exchange zone. The strong safety comes up and takes the wide outside, and it really gives them a pretty strong defense against the wide run. When Buffalo's run the ball wide, they haven't picked up more than 5 yards on any one carry. They're lulled into a 2nd and 5. They think they can pick something up. Cleveland shuts them down, and now it's right where the defense likes it.
Joe Costanza points out that both passers are now 1 for 7 in this game. 3rd down and 6 coming up for the Bills. From their 41 out of the shotgun, Ferguson drops one long. Joe Cribbs is open quickly. And for Dixon, who's a flyer. Touchdown Buffalo. What a football play. This place was just ignited.
They feel Joe Cribbs is the key. Well, they've stuffed him when he's run the ball, but they find many ways to use old number 20. This time he gets into a one-on-one situation with a linebacker. The linebacker gets mixed up, thinks the defensive back has him. By that time, he's all the way down the field. Little mix-up leaves him all alone. Picks it up on about the 30 and travels it in. Can you believe how fast that Dixon runs? Because Cribb can fly at about 4.6. He picked up 2. Whoops.
Here's one back to the drawing board.
Let's see how we do here.
Not well. Matt Robinson with a bad snap from center. So the Bills do not get the extra point, which has been pointed out every time one is missed. Could loom as a big factor as the game wears on, but in a game like this, it could be a decider. Joey Cribbs went in from 58 yards out with that touchdown reception. 6-0 Buffalo.
This is Byron Day in New York and Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium. The Bengals have just come back to tie it all up. A 4-yard run by Pete Johnson. It's 7-all now in the second quarter. Let's go back to Don Criqui and John Brody.
The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The Bills struck quickly. A 3-play drive, 63 yards, 58 on the pass run. Ferguson to Joe Cribbs on into the end zone for 58 yards in the touchdown. Missed extra point at 6-0. The kickoff goes to the goal line. Here comes Dino Hall. To the outside, and Hall is out to the 20-yard line. Good special teams coverage. Charles Rome, the starting corner, in on kick coverage. The elapsed time, 1:27. Joe Cribbs, who's a flyer, and as you pointed out, John, Hanford Dixon, who I guess they said was the fastest player in the last draft, certainly demonstrated it.
Except he started a little too late.
About one step late.
You know, you see a halfback beat a defensive back, and you say, geez, he got beaten. I really don't. I think it was a mix-up. I don't know whose responsibility it was, but I know Clay Matthews has been man-on-man with Cribbs all day long. That time I never saw Clay in the play. It might have been a mix-up. It had to be a mental error. You don't leave people that open unless it isn't.
Interesting point. We'll see if the Bills go back to it. Back now to Pruitt, the fullback, on a 1st and 10 carry. Mike Pruitt carries it out to the 26-yard line. Ritigliano is a psychologist. He has a master's degree from Columbia, and he's really worked well with Mike Pruitt. Gave him his confidence. He didn't have it his first 2 years at Cleveland. This has been a Pro Bowl player the last 2 years.
I think, Don, when you see a guy like Mike Pruitt play week in and week out as well as he does, a lot has to do with Sam Ritigliano and the way he helps him. But he's a very patient man. He doesn't complicate things, and I think football players react to people like that.
Browns surely have, as they come in off an 11-5 year a season ago, and now they have 2nd down and 5. They've not run well. Here comes Charles White. He gets some, but not a lot. Charles White gets it out to about the 27-yard line. He'll be short by 3.
I think this play indicates how a middle linebacker can be effective, even though he doesn't make the stop. Here's Haslett. He's coming out. He's got to read the play. He's responsible inside. He sees it go to the outside and still is quick enough to force the back, Charles White, to go outside of his lane a little farther than he'd like, and Mario Clark makes the play on a 2-yard gain. I mean, that's how important your middle linebacker is. How much does he cause the other fellas to get into the act?
Hazlett's been a good one, a 2nd-round draft choice out of Indiana State, Pennsylvania. Baltimore has come back to tie the Dolphins at the Orange Bowl 7-all. 3rd down and 2, and Brian Sapp's going to fire. Here comes the rush, a long ball to Ozzie Newsome. It's just slapped away by Rufus Betts. Ozzie Newsome, a tight end who can run deep. He was a wide receiver at Alabama, had the defense beaten, but Rufus Betts recovered.
Well, they're getting the one-on-one situations, but they're not able to hit. They're a little off here, a little off there. I think more than anything else, what's stopping them right now is their own coordination. That ball was thrown a little late, or they'd had a big gainer. As a result, 4th down.
And Brian Stipe still, John, has just that one completion for 8 yards earlier in the game. 1 out of 8 he's completed. 1:15 to go in the first quarter. Bills lead the game 6-0 as Cox is into punt again for his 4th time. It's it downfield. Roland Hooks takes a look again. Cox knows how to play this turf. Gets a roll all the way down to the 27.
I'll tell you, he knows how to play the turf, but when you kick the ball 35 yards down the field, someone has to be in a position to field it on the fly. They've lost about 35, 40 yards again today.
So all it went was 30 yards, but he got a 15-yard roll. It was a 45-yard punt. Next Saturday, Johnny Rutherford returns to the site of his horrendous crash last year to compete in the CART Phoenix 150. Challenging him will be Indy 500 champion Bobby Unser, Rick Mears, and Al Unser, all on that tricky Phoenix Oval. And, of course, powerlifting and bodybuilding, the Mixed Pairs World Championship. That's all next Saturday on NBC Sports World. It's now 1st down and 10 for the Buffalo Bills. Ball to the 27-yard line. Play fake. Here's a swing pass out, and diving at the ball as Jerry Butler didn't hold on. 59 seconds to go in the first quarter. Now let's go back to New York and Byron Day.
Down in Miami, the Colts had just come back to tie the ball game up. Burt Jones has just thrown a 5-yarder to his 3rd down clutch receiver, Don McCauley. It's 7-all now in the second quarter. John?
Thank you, Byron. 2nd down and 10 coming up now. Buffalo with the ball on a 6-0 lead. 2nd and 10 for the Bills at their 27. Joe Cribbs, not much there, but somehow he weaves and finds his way across the 30, out to the 31. Marshall Harris, number 90, and Dick Ambrose, 52, on the stop for Cleveland.
Well, Well, it's second down and 10. They're trying to create any kind of a trap block or a late block, and they figure they'll give them a hole. The linebackers will be dropping deep. But they didn't take into account that Bradley's standing right over the middle. He and Harris plugged that thing up very effectively. Cribbs picks up 3, but that's not an effective play.
You know, John, looking at Sipes' passing numbers, 1 for 8, how much of that do you think is attributable to the fact he might be a little apprehensive about the new center he's got? It can be tough, can it? Teaming up with a new
I think it can. I haven't noticed it yet today, but I sure think it can be a problem. Just your certainty factor goes down.
It's now 3rd down and 6 for Buffalo. Joe Cribbs is killing him today. Joey Cribbs is out to the 47-yard line. The sure-handed Auburn War Eagle. Auburn, Alabama, Joe Cribbs, 16 yards result in the game.
This is an indication, like so often, Don, you sit there and you put a matchup. Your best defensive linebacker against their top gun. We see Clay Matthews trying to handle Cribbs. Cribbs has beaten him 2 or 3 times. Once for a touchdown. It's going to be long if they don't get into the right area.
We haven't seen the last of Joe Cribbs. Passing yardage has been the difference as the Bills lead this game now at the outset of the second quarter, 6-0. Chuck Knox, who's done nothing short of a brilliant job here in Buffalo in resurrecting this franchise. It was a champion of the American Football League last time back in the mid-60s. Now they're contending to win big in the NFL as the Bills go to the run on 1st down, opening play of the second quarter, and they get the ball down across midfield to the 47-yard line of Cleveland. Lyle Alzado on the stop. Joe Ferguson was Southwest Conference Player of the Year as a junior at Arkansas. Then the Hogs went to the wishbone his senior year. Didn't throw anymore. He didn't go to the 3rd round of the draft. He too was a bargain even in the 3rd round. .28 to go, first half. 2nd down and 4. Joe Cribbs with that great cutback move loses the ball, but I believe he was down at the 44-yard line of Cleveland. Browns are the kind of a team, John, that never seem to be out of the game. They never start out well. Last year they lost early in the season. This year they lost 4 of their first 6, but here they are just a game out of first place in the division.
You mentioned that a couple weeks ago when they were playing Pittsburgh, and I had never noticed. But they get down and they look like they're beaten, but you look up at the scoreboard, it's only 6-0. Right now they're being dominated, and yet they keep bending. It's been the personality of the Browns for the past several years. You bend a little, allow Sipe to get an opportunity to get you back in the ball game. Right now when it's going good for Buffalo, they've got to capitalize.
Bills have 3rd and less than 2. Joe Cribbs jumps over the top, takes people with him. And Joe Cribbs is playing an all-pro football game today as he's down to the 34-yard line of Cleveland. Man. 3rd and 2, and he almost took it the distance.
Well, you take a look at their offensive line, and they're just pushing people out of the middle. Joe Cribbs is jumping up and over, but there isn't anybody there to jump over. They've got him cleaned out. He picks up the 1st down with plenty to spare. One more look. You take a look at their people. They've got some great ones, and Reggie McKenzie is out, remember. But they've got the people. Will Grant did his job. They moved him then.
Men can play football. Joe Cribbs, and Bills have it 1st and 10. Quick out. Goes to Jerry Butler. Playing with a damaged shoulder. Bruised it last week against Denver. There was a lot of bruises passed out in that game. Jerry Butler catches the ball down to 27.
Okay, this is what a quarterback loves. 1st down, you see the cornerback playing off. Just a little short out, audible. Nobody runs it any better than Butler either. That's the easiest 5-6 yards you can get.
Giving Joe Cribbs a little rest now. He's being attended to on the sideline. Roland Hooks is in the game. Bills starting to mount a challenge. They lead 6-0 with 12:49 to play in the first half. 2nd down and 4, Buffalo. Curtis Brown puts his head down. Gets some inside the 25. He's close to a 1st down. Just short of it where they marked the ball. Clay Matthews was on the stop for Cleveland. More wide receivers come in and go to some power people also. Buster Barnett, a rookie tight end, is in the game, and so is Roosevelt Leaks. Joe Cribbs' right knee is being looked at on the sideline for that last carry for the 1st down. 3rd down and less than a yard. He's up and walking around though now, Cribbs.
doing their job. Will Grant's doing his, and Conrad Dobler's moving people around. When you do that, you can call anything you want as a quarterback.
Designated hitter Roosevelt Leaks comes in on those short yardage plays and blasts him out. So the Bills have it 1st and 10 now to the 16-yard line of Cleveland. 11:21 to play in the first half. Roland hooks up the middle, gets it down to the 14-yard line. Ambrose stacked him.
And Alzado gave it a little file this big fella. You've run far enough.
Bills have converted 6 of 9 third down conversions. Cleveland's 0 for 4.
Considering who they're converting the conversions against, team that allows 27% against them on third down, they're 6 for 9. They've upped the average a little.
That really points out what you were talking about, John, about the Cleveland defense bending, but when it really counts, like on the third downs, they've been so tough to move against. Joe Ferguson throws and the ball is caught. Joe Cribbs catches it for another touchdown. We're going to ship Joe Cribbs off to Canton after this one.
Well, Joe Cribbs made a fine play, but it was the design of the play and the touch of Ferguson that made it all happen, Don. Ferguson put that ball over the top of the linebacker, the only place it could be thrown on the dead run. Didn't have much room to work with. He just operated. When he gets hot, there's nobody better. And playing in Buffalo, as windy as it is normally back here, it's even more to his credit.
Great throw, great catch. Ferguson now has 18 touchdown passes for the season. Now they go back to this extra point try. Going to keep doing this till they get it right. And they do here. Up and good. So the Bills extend their lead to 13-0 with 10:29 left to play in the first half. Joe Cribbs has been in the end zone twice. His receiving has been the difference. 3 for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns.
This is Byron Day in New York. Down in the Orange Bowl, the Dolphins are back on the board once again. David Woodley throwing this touchdown pass to Duriel Harris at 22 yards, almost from the seat of his pants. It's now 14-7 in the second.
Thank you, Byron. We're set to go here at Buffalo as Joe Cribbs just caught his second touchdown pass. Nick Mickemeyer ready to kick off now after converting the extra point. It's 13-0 Buffalo. Don Quickie with John Brody. 80,000 here at Witt Stadium. 10:29 to play in the first half. Mickemeyer kicks off a high spinner, kind of a weird-looking kickoff, and Matt Miller didn't want it, but he got it. Offensive tackles are not part of your game plan to return kicks, are they, John?
They've got a long way to fall, Donnie. Let's take a look at the touchdown one more time. It's a fake reverse. You can see he fakes the Cribbs. Cribbs goes in as if he's going to block on the play. However, the fake reverse comes. Cribbs runs a very nice pattern, gives Ferguson a little room to throw it, but it has to be a perfectly thrown ball to score. They get Clarence Scott out of position, running in for 6.
Buffalo offensive coaches Kay Stevenson and J.D. Donaldson in the booth right next to us calling the plays. Look at that replay. Grinning broadly.
Well, you got to grin when you make it work.
It's first down and 10 now for Cleveland. Browns need to get something going to get back in this. Sight stands in and he hits his man, Greg Pruitt. He's ahead for a Cleveland first down out to the 40-yard line. So Brian Sipe comes out pitching on first down, gets 11 on the first down. His throw to Greg Pruitt.
I think you'll see an awful lot more of Pruitt throughout the rest of this half because he's the guy that really gets things exciting. When he comes out, catches the ball on a little flare pattern. That time Sipe almost fell down, didn't find him. When you do get to him, he'll break some plays.
So the ball is out to the 40. Cleveland getting one of its best games of this day. Sipe ready to go again. Pump fake it. Runs away from trouble and gets it away to Mike Pruitt, but it's overthrown. Good defense by Buffalo, both on the rush and in the coverage by linebacker Lucius Sanford.
You know what the best part of the play was, Don? They wanted to go to Logan on an out and up. Remember we mentioned early in the game they've been playing his receivers real tight? Well, he gets that information from the press box. He comes in the huddle on first down. They know they're throwing the ball. He tries to get an out and up. It looks like a perfect play. But Catlin's no fool. He knows he played him tough early. He backs off. The play isn't there, and Sipe has to scamper.
For the bragging rights in New York, the Jets have taken a 3-0 lead in the second quarter against their arch rivals, the Giants. 37-yard field goal by Pat Leahy. You just saw the update on this one. Miami leading Baltimore 14-7. Swerless left early. We'll see if he was drawn offside with 9:38 to play in the first half.
Encroachment, number 76, defense. Second down.
That is an hombre, that Fred Smerlas. Talk about tough. He anchors that defensive front. Atlanta now tied up by New Orleans. The Saints just got a touchdown throw as Archie Manning threw to longtime Bum Phillips' favorite, Guido Merkins, he brought over from Houston. It's second down and 5 now for the Cleveland Browns at their 45. Mike Pruitt turns the corner and heads north. Not very far, though.
It was good defense, Don. You sit in a 2nd and 5 situations, real tough on a defense. They've got to guess right and then be alert enough to find the ball. Haslett seems to be all over the ball today. He comes out, keeps the play from turning in as it results. Good end play, good linebacker play. Haslett in pursuit. You see a lot of white shirts around the ball carrier.
Tigliano talking about the speed of the Buffalo linebackers. Now they can contain the perimeters. It's so tough to get wide on them. Now big down for the Browns. Third down. Ryan Sipes setting up wide receivers, 2 to the right and 1 to the left. Calvin Hill's in.
Cardinals sin. Ozzie Newsome, who's playing, they've got a situation that they love right now. It's 3rd down and 3. Newsome jumps the count. For some reason, Deacon sees something to the left of his eye. He jumps also. When you do this, it's an unpardonable sin. I don't know whether Newsome saw Deacon or Deacon Newsome, but I know they both jumped.
So that makes it a whole different ball game for Cleveland now. Instead of these 3rd and short, it's 3rd and 8.
The big thing is they had a matchup they liked. They had Freeman and Newsome one-on-one. You could bet they were coming to him. Let's see if they create it again.
3 plays in this drive. He's had 2 penalties in it. Ryan Sipe, here's a blitz. Man, wow, Ryan Sipe is leveled. Isaiah Robertson, 58, coming on a linebacker blitz.
Pretty easy to tell where we're playing, Don. That time it didn't matter who they had on the receivers because they had 6 fellas on Bryant.
Rod Kush was also on the play. He had a couple of sacks last week on a safety blitz against the Broncos. So the Browns are taken right out of field position. They have to punt again. Cox, as you see, inside his 20. It's a beauty. Ball high, punt, rolling hooks will return it. From the 25 to the 28. Bills go on offense again. 1st and 10 with 8:17 to play in the first half. 43-yard punt. 5-yard return. So the Bills come up with a big defensive play. They've been doing it all game long. They maintain their 13-0 lead, and Buffalo has the ball back. Right now we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WGR TV2 Buffalo.
Gills in formation. The Bills go on offense. 1st and 10, the ball at their 28-yard line. They lead the game 13-0 second quarter. Don Criqui with John Brody at Orchard Park, New York. Here comes Joe Cribbs, who's been in the end zone twice today. Heading upfield, seemingly stopped, then he bursts ahead again and gets some more out to the 36.
There aren't too many secrets in this game, Don. We've talked about Will Grant over the years and how Jim Richard was supposed to take his slot. Number 53 on Bradley. Now there's a big man, 6'6", 260 pounds, but he makes him commit and then he takes him where he wants him. He's got him 5 yards down the field. That's pretty good blocking when you're one-on-one.
It surely is. The Buffalo offensive line has been a force coming off the ball. Busted open Cleveland this portion of the game at least. And now it's 2nd down and 2. Back to the run. Curtis Brown puts on some moves. Gets out to the 43. Buffalo, one good-looking football team early in this game.
Well, they've got control of the line of scrimmage. Ferguson's throwing the ball well. Cribbs has made 2 outstanding plays, and that's the difference in the ball game. Will Grant again on Henry Bradley. Again, the winner is number 53. When you meet the ball carrier 4 or 5 yards deep past the line of scrimmage, you've lost.
Coach Vitigliano well aware of that. Having a track meet down at the Superdome. 17-10 now. Atlanta over New Orleans. Bartkowski threw to Alfred Jenkins. On a 1st down run, takes the ball. Joe Cribbs brings it out to the 45-yard line. Alzado stopped him.
We just thought we'd take a look at an individual matchup. You know, when the score's 13-0, sometimes you'd like to take a look at the why. Here's Bradley and Grant again. This time, Grant's holding his own. Bradley hangs in there tough enough to hold the ball carrier to 3 yards, so we'll give him a draw.
Conrad Dobler comes out at right guard, and Jim Richer, a former Outland Award winner at North Carolina State, number 1 draft choice of the Bills a year ago, is in at right guard. Second down and 8 as Ferguson takes the deep drop and looks. He has a problem. He also has the gun to get rid of it. Boy, he throws a football like a baseball.
If Curtis Brown hadn't put his hand up, he'd have knocked Good's teeth out, because Good was flying as fast forward as that ball was coming toward him. And Ferguson sitting there with, it looks to be plenty of protection. Clay Matthews pushes Cribbs back into Ferguson. As he runs outside, he really fires the ball. Watch Curtis Brown. Well, we don't get to see it. Looked pretty good from up here.
But it comes out as a loud out, and it's now third down and 8 for Buffalo. 6:08 to play in the first half. Out of the shotgun, there's a throw, and Jerry Butler does well to snap the ball away from Cleveland defenders who are closing in. Penalty markers down also in the Buffalo backfield. We're going to get a hold against the Buffalo Bills. This drive just ended. They'll have a third and long.
The people in Buffalo are a little concerned about all the holding calls. They say we've gone 130 plays without getting one for us. We've had about 13 called against us. And they do notice those things.
Bengals come back. Johnson scored a
Illegal use of hands. Number 70, offense. Decline, 4th down.
They caught Joe Devlin. They don't very often. Bob McElwee.
They got so much attention on Dobler, they don't even know where he is.
Right. They're still looking for Dobler. He's over on the bench.
Might be why they caught him.
So Cater's in to punt again. You saw Dino Hall ready to return it. High spiral. Floating down inside the 20. Dino Hall's going to run it back. Puts on a move. Beautiful. Some blockers. Look at this play. Then your classic stick. Mark Bramer, a tight end, drilled it. 39-yard punt and 11-yard return. Bills holding to a 13-0 lead. We'll be back after this.
This is Byron Day in New York at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The Bengals are finally in front. Ken Anderson tossing an 8-yard touchdown pass to Dan Ross. It's now 14-7 Cincinnati in the second quarter. Let's go back to Don Criqui and John Brody.
Thank you, Byron. Here in the second quarter at Buffalo, we have 5:50 to play. Bills in the lead 13-0 on 2 Joe Ferguson touchdown throws to Joe Cribbs. One covered 58 yards, first score of this game. Browns need to get something going now. Sykes looking deep. Home run ball, and Ricky Features open. He's got the ball for Cleveland. Great play for the Browns as it takes the ball inside the Buffalo 30. So the Browns needed the big play, and they just got it.
You know, they've been shut down, Don. What has Brian been trying to do? He's been trying to get to Logan, trying to get to Newsome. He's got Feature out here one-on-one. Whether it's Mario Clark, as it happened to be on this occasion, or it roams, you put a top receiver like a Ricky Feature one-on-one with a cornerback. They've been playing him a little tight on first down. When you get to the cornerback, you are home free. Sipe throws it at the right time, beats the zone easily. 46-yard gain.
That is the number, 46-yard gain. Rich Kotite, the receiver coach for Cleveland, was telling us before the game, Features about due to break loose. He said he's just a fabulous athlete. Up the middle it goes, a free ball. We had a hard pop come in. Bill Simpson, the free safety, really drilled Greg Pruitt, and the ball was up for grabs.
They're going to go to Newsome in a second. They found a few ways to get him one-on-one with Freeman. Number 22 is a tough man to get in a one-on-one situation, and he plays it pretty well. Strong safeties are notorious for their weakness in coverage and their ability to hit. Well, Freeman's been there for several years because he can find the ball. Halftime
coming up. Byron Day to update us on all the scores, the stories, the highlights of this, the First game of the second half of NFL 81. Second down and 10. Brian Sipe 3 for 12 passing. Throws one and he gets Feature again. Ricky Features down to the Buffalo 10-yard line. Another Cleveland first down. So the Sipe Feature connection starts to ring them up. They get more yards, 17-yard gain.
Don, usually you will find Bill Simpson in the area, but Newsom playing wide to the left. He had Freeman one-on-one. Simpson chose to go over there and try and help out on Newsom. Sipe picked up Feature in the middle of the field and drilled him to it. It's one thing to catch it, it's another thing to hold on in there.
Buffalo in command. Now the Browns ready to tighten this game up if they can. First down and 10 from the 11. Back on top. Low pass, touchdown Browns, but there's a penalty marker coming in. Came in from the secondary, though.
It came in from the secondary, but it was the left tackle.
Yeah, touchdown's coming back. Shane Nelson's down right now.
That's why you saw the receiver all alone.
What a player he's been. A free agent out of Baylor has been one of the best.
Holding, number 73, offense, first down.
They got Deacon. We'll watch the play again. The touchdown comes back.
Well, you see, Nelson would have been in this area. Pruitt picks it up. It's all for naught.
Defensive captain Shane Nelson comes to the sideline. Hurt a knee, but was up and about. The more he walked, the more it loosened up. Probably be back in.
It'll hurt tomorrow, but I think we'll see him for the rest of the day.
Now the Browns have first and 20. Their touchdown called back. They go from the Buffalo 21-yard line, trailing 13-0. Sipe's looking at Feature. Feature's in the corner of the end zone, but Sipe has a problem now. Throws on the run and wisely throws it to a cheerleader. The score is rolling on in. Miami holding to a 14-10 halftime lead over the Baltimore Colts, a team that needs a win very badly. Tampa Bay not beating the Bears in the last 5 tries, leading Chicago 10-3 down in Florida. The Jets have extended their lead over the Giants to 6-0. Byron Day will have all the scores and the big plays at halftime on NFL 81. Right now, we have 4 minutes and a second to play in the first half. Chuck knocks his team up 13-0. The holding penalty negated a Cleveland touchdown. And now the Browns go second and 20 from their 21-yard line of Buffalo. Greg Pruitt weaves a little, works a little, gets inside the 20 to about the 19-yard line. Fred Smerlas and Rod Cush got him.
Well, they were hoping that the linebackers would be flying back there trying to defend one of those wide receivers, but it didn't work. This is about as tough a place as any to really operate down. Third down and 20. You can't throw it too far because you run out of room, yet you've got to pick up 20 yards, so the linebackers are going to be right back there inside the 10-yard line. And you really have to fool somebody to make a completion. Third down and 20 on the 20.
You've been there.
Well, not as much as I'd like. I'd rather be on that side than the other.
Here's Sipe taking a look, arcing into the end zone. Feature is out there, but the ball is just out of his reach. So the Browns come up short on a third down play from the 19-yard line of Buffalo. Now the field goal unit comes out.
Now that's an example right there. Ricky Feature, you get a one-on-one coverage. Feature got just what he wanted. It was an all-out blitz, so they've got man-on-man coverage of their wide receivers. A miscommunication. Sipe was hoping that Feature went to the corner a little earlier. He didn't. He had to wait, throw it into the cheap seats.
Matt Barr in to try the field goal. He's 2 for 3. He just over 36 yards with Paul McDonald holding. Sullivan the snapper. Snap set down, everything good. Browns are on the board. Perfectly executed by Cleveland, a 36-yard field goal. And Matt Barr gives the Browns their first points of the game. It's 13-3 with 3:11 left to play in the first half. He's had an odyssey this year, cut by the Steelers, kind of a heartbreak, went out to San Francisco briefly. Wersching came back and he left there. Browns had a lot of problems with their field goals. Dave Jacobs had beaten out Don Cockcroft, but Jacobs in the regular season was only 4 of 12. So they brought Barr in. Next Sunday, all the highlights, the scores, the late-breaking news from all the games on NFL 81. Then it's a doubleheader day on NBC, featuring key matchups like Oakland and Houston, Cincinnati and San Diego. And these Browns head out to Mile High Stadium to play the Broncos in Denver. Check your local listings for the games and the times in your area. That's next Sunday, a doubleheader day on NBC, leading off with NFL 81. Rob Riddick, a rookie, and Byron Franklin, another rookie, are back deep for Buffalo on the kick return team now. Steve Cox, the punter, also kicks off. Big rangy athlete from Arkansas, came in the 5th round of the last draft. 6'4", 205 pounds, hits it long and deep. This won't come out. Riddick takes a look, is cautioned wisely by Byron Franklin not to come out of there. So it comes out on a touchback to the 20. The Bills go on offense. 1st and 10 with 3:05 left to play in the first half. And Buffalo leading 13-3. Coach Knox and Coach Prochaska. Bills, like the Browns under Sam Ratigliano, have had a consistent ascent up since both these coaches joined their franchises. Bills in 1978, 5-9. Chuck Knox first year after 5 straight divisional titles coaching the Rams, as all the fans in Los Angeles watching this are so well aware. 79, the Bills went to 7-9. Then the breakthrough year last year in a divisional championship, an 11-5 season in the AFC East title. 1st and 10 for Buffalo. Ferguson goes hard over the middle, and he gets Frank Lewis at the 30. Looks like a first down reception.
Don, you know, timing is so important in everything you do, but particularly in football. It's 1st and 10 on your own 20-yard line. Now you can sit there and try to grind out a first down. It's 2.5 minutes before the end of the half. They know better than that. They don't want to get stuffed. They get the ball to Frank Lewis. It's a perfect time to run a pattern of this sort. Your linebackers are going to be playing close. You can fake it to your fullback. Now he hits it right in front of Bolton. Easy first down.
Lewis has as many receptions as he had all of last year at the halfway point. Joe Cribbs runs and breaks into open field. And Cribbs on a 1st and 10 carry from the 31. Takes the ball out across the 40-yard line. We'll see what they spotted. He might have another first down. Looks like he does. So the Bills move the chain markers again as the game clock winds down close to 2 minutes. Cribbs has run 12 times for 52 yards. He's caught 3 balls for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That was Joe Devlin making a fine block.
So the 2-minute warning is given here in Buffalo. And break in the action with the Buffalo Bills in the lead. 13-3. They'll have it 1st and 10 when we come back. From the sideline, there's a big one in Giant Stadium. When the Jets won the Super Bowl in 1969, Weave Eubank, their coach, said we had to win 2 Super Bowls. One against Baltimore and one against the Giants in the preseason to prove to people in New York we were better than them. Jets leading the Giants 6-0. They haven't played the regular season since '74. On a 1st and 10 throw, here's a pitch and a catch by Frank Lewis. Now a foot race to the sideline. Lewis is ahead for a big gainer inside the Cleveland 40. First down.
You know, Frank will drop a few balls. I've stated I've seen him so much now. I've seen him very seldom covered. He can find holes in his own defense as well as anyone. This time, Bramer carries everybody out. He gets the ball. He's so open, he's got enough time to turn back, go the same way he came from. Pick up a first down. He knows he'd like to get it out of bounds. They're in the last 2 minutes. He does so, picks up about 16 yards and keeps the drive alive. A guy that gets open a lot will get the ball thrown to him. And that's why Frank Lewis has almost 50 receptions already.
There was some trade. Tight end Paul Seymour for Frank Lewis. Seymour never played it down at Pittsburgh, and Lewis has been an all-pro player. Ahead they go to Joe Cribbs, and he takes the ball down inside the 35-yard line to the 31 as the game clock shows 1:40 and running. Clay Matthews on the tackle for the Browns. Seymour showed up, had a foot problem, never played it down. The trade didn't endear Buffalo management to the Steeler owners. Sure worked out for the Bills. 2nd down and 3. Cribbs 60 yards rushing already. Up they go. There's going to be a hold on Buffalo, though, as the marker flies in, freeing Curtis Brown up the middle. Somebody grabbed a hold of a Cleveland defender. Play comes back. Game clock is stopped with 1:17 to play.
Don, this is when it is so critical. A holding call at this time in the contest can do so many things against your whole structure, because when it's 13-3, you can put the ball game almost out of reach.
Holding, 72, offense, second down.
And they've done it so beautifully. They've done it with ball control, passing, with lates, draws, traps. And they've just had total control of what was going on right now. One holding penalty puts them all the way back into another situation. Second and 15.
The guy that sells all that Buffalo Bills stuff must do well. Follow it around here.
Yeah.
Second and long yardage now. Second and about 15 as Joe Ferguson throws in the flat. Mark Kramer's tight end loses the ball. Good coverage on the play by Cleveland's strong safety, Clarence Scott. 1:13 left to play now in the first half. Plays are called for Joe Ferguson. They come from on high up here from the quarterback coach, Kay Stevenson, down to the sideline. Did you ever get suspicious, John, somebody might be tapping that phone?
I didn't care. You know, I think a guy that spends any time doing that is going to fool himself. You know, first they have to learn your offense. It's hard enough to learn your own. You start learning somebody else's. The other thing is, Kay Stevenson and Ferguson are so much the same personality-wise. They're really on the same page. I think it's really helped Joe since Kay's been here.
3rd and 14. Shotgun for the Bills from the Cleveland 42. Not enough for a first down, though. Cleveland's right there to make the tackle. Rowan Hooks caught it. Clarence Scott knocked him right down. 8-yard gain on the play.
It's not enough for a first down, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see them try a field goal at this time, because it's a 50-yard kick, a little against the wind, and I had an edge. I saw him running on the field.
I was going to call you on that. Mickemeyer ready to come out. He was the factor last week for Buffalo, the winning edge, his right foot. 3 attempts, 3 were good, including one with a second to play when it went through. It gave the Bills a 9-7 win over Cleveland over Denver. Against the Bronco defense, didn't give up a touchdown all day.
That's right. Now he's kicking very well, Mickemeyer is, and you'll notice he kicked one in the end zone to start the ball game off. If they have a fake field goal right now that's effective, this is when I'd use it.
Well, they have a quarterback who holds, Matt Robinson.
I think their odds on kicking it from 50 yards against the wind in Rich Stadium are very minimal. I think they got a much better chance to go for it on 4th and 3.
That's what they're going to do. Robinson comes out. Most of those trick field goals, though, end up in flaming disasters, don't they? I mean, every so often one works.
Well, it depends when you use it. You know, you're right. Once in a while it works if you use it right. But right now, I'm sure they figure Ferguson's got a better chance of picking it up and keeping the drive alive. Then there's only 49 seconds left. I think it's a good thought.
Saw Chuck Knox on the field before the game and said we're going to have to score a lot to stay ahead of this team. They come back so quickly. Right now, as Bills are holding to a 13-3 lead with just 49 seconds to play in the first half. 4th down coming up, and where they have the ball spotted, it'll be 4th and 5. From the shotgun they go. It's a strong wind picking up down intensity that Ferguson will be throwing into. Temperature in the high 50s. Good day. Cleveland gets the ball back. 43 seconds to play. There's a penalty marker down. There's also a Cleveland Brown down.
I think a couple of Cleveland Browns ran into each other.
And the biggest one, Alzado, bounces up, but the other guy is a little slow getting there. Judson Flint. He's all right. Penalty markers down on the play as Joe Ferguson is sacked by Lyle Alzado.
Look what happened.
Defensive holding, a 5-yard penalty, but it is an automatic first down.
You know how big a defensive holding penalty can be at this time of the half with 45 seconds left to play? Rather than make a turnover where Cleveland's got 30 seconds, can get back to within 1 touchdown. Now they got a penalty, they can get blown out to within 17.
Holding on the defensive left linebacker. First down.
He got a break. The defensive left linebacker didn't call a number.
know who he was, but I'm not going to tell you.
Might have been Don Good.
Well, it's one of the four of them, huh?
He's lined up as a defensive left. First and 10 now for Buffalo to the 28-yard line of Cleveland with 43 seconds to play in the first half. Lewis in motion. Fake to Cribbs. Throw to intercepted by Cleveland. Tom Darden has the ball and a load of blockers. Tom Darden cutting back still on his feet, and he comes inside the 45-yard line down to the 43, and the Browns have 31 seconds to work with.
All right, there isn't a defense that can create that situation. Darden went from the time of the ball snap right into that area. It looked like a Jerry Butler one-on-one situation. He played it as a center fielder the whole time. Ferguson never saw him. Tom Darden to the left of your screen, coming back. Here we go. He knows where Ferguson's going. Ferguson gave it away pretty early, picked it off on the dead run. Looks like a play they practice a lot. Clay Matthews, 57 out in front. Ambrose trailing. Had he kept his feet, he might have cut back and gone the whole way.
Darden with his third interception of the year, and its return was good for 45 yards.
Well, that little fake draw, he expected maybe to pull Darden up. Had no effect. He picked it off.
So let's see what Slife and the Browns can do now at 31 seconds. First and 10. Not much there. Second sack for the Bills defense. Cleveland calls a timeout with 27 seconds left.
Since they put that, when they put Ken Johnson in the ball game, number 91, they play that 4-down lineman. Boy, that frees everybody up. Now they can't double Smurless. They can't double Williams. They all get better penetration. Look at what Smurless does when they've only got one man on him.
Man, what a shot. Ken Johnson and Brian Sipe was badly shaken up. He went to the wrong bench.
You know who 64 is, don't you?
Joe DeLamelure, one of the starting guards for Buffalo.
And not too bad to be run over.
This Johnson has really come out. He was part of the O.J. Simpson trade, was a fourth-round draft choice out of Tennessee at Knoxville 3 years ago. Just got his 7th sack.
All right, Paul McDonald warming up over there on the sideline.
Brian Sipe will remember, John, had concussions on consecutive weeks, a rather severe one when he played the Steelers, and he goes to the sideline. Now he's coming back in. Apparently they checked him out and he's all right.
Well, once you start getting those things, you know, it seems like they never end. Roger Staubach's a perfect example. Somebody asked him why he quit when he was 36 years old. He said, if I was 26, I might think about continuing. But I'm 36. I've taken my lumps, and I really think there's a time when I have to make a decision.
Like fighters, first time they go down for the 10 count, it happens a lot of times after that. So the sack brings the ball back to the Cleveland 48-yard line. So Sipe and the Browns now with second and long yardage, second and 19 with just 27 seconds left to play. First half. 13-3, another big rush, but Sipe eludes it. He goes to Ozzie Newsome. He catches the ball. He's out of bounds. It was close, but they say Ozzie did not have the feet in.
That's what a pass rush does. You get the quarterback a little concerned with the rush. He comes to the receiver late. This time Newsome was open quite a bit before the ball was released. Didn't have much room to work with. Had Newsome been able to put his right foot down, it still had been complete, but his momentum carried him out.
Cleveland knows big crowds. This is the 8th time in 9 weeks of this season they've played before a sold-out stadium. Usually it's 80,000 when they're at home in Cleveland. Had their smallest home crowd against Baltimore last week, 78. Down at 19. Here's Brian Sipe taking a look long. He's got time and going for the ball very deep. Is Ricky Feature, and it's broken up inside the 5-yard line. This Feature's a threat. You can call the 2 he caught earlier. The one big gainer, the 54-yard gainer that set the Browns up. Eventually the drive turned into their only points of this game, a field goal. It's 13-3. This is Don Criqui with John Brody, Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. Buffalo Bills have scored on 2 touchdown throws from Joe Ferguson to Joe Cribbs, one of his runners. Steve Cox, the punter, is in now. Nolan Hooks and Byron Franklin go in as safeties, but they're not playing back too far. They're going to let the ball hop. Cox is an athlete. He's liable to throw it.
If they catch this one, it's going to have to be a very short punt.
They're only about 15 yards back of the line of scrimmage, the safeties. Cox unloads. That's going to fly right into the end zone. And the game clock is down now to 6 seconds to play. A 52-yard punt by Cox. So Buffalo probably run the ball once and take their winnings to the locker room.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and it's a good play. It's just the little things that count as you look down the season. Don't put a guy back there to make a mistake. Leave the ball go in the end zone. There's nothing you can do anyway. Go into the locker room with a 10-point lead. They're happy to do it.
Rose, that just brought in a load of that famous Buffalo kielbasa for you to try out. Sam Ratigliano and his Browns down 13-3 as we're set to go to halftime and then right to New York in NFL 81. Byron Day standing by to update this, the 9th weekend of play. The Bills with a 13-3 lead. This looks like one of the plays they run the game clock out with at the end of the game.
Same play.
That's it. And the game clock runs out in the first half. Long way to go. Chuck Knox and his Bills take a 13-3 halftime lead. Sam Ratigliano getting some counsel from his defensive coordinator, Schottenheimer, who played in the Bills championship teams. And they've gone against Brian Sipe with so many different defenses. Every team, it's a real tribute to his all-pro playing. We're going to be back at Buffalo with the second half of this game between the Cleveland Browns and the Buffalo Bills right after this.
Back at Rich Stadium, this is John Brody with the score, 13-3 Buffalo. They really dominated play in the first half. That man Conrad Dobler is partly responsible, but the offensive line is particularly responsible. Ferguson's had everything going his way in the first half, and sometimes it's hard, Don, to get in at halftime when everything's going your way, as it hasn't for Brian Sipe, and figure anything else to do. So I'm sure they'll come back and do the same things in the second half they started out in the first. On the other side of the coin, I look for Sipe to throw the ball on a lot shorter patterns, wait till he gets a little more time, then try to hit deep. Because they've got to get something moving and take the ball away from Buffalo and let their defense rest a little, or it could be an extremely long day.
I guess you really got to go right back to Axiom 1, blocking and tackling. That's where the Browns have been getting beat. A line of scrimmage. Joe Cribbs has had a spectacular day. Rushed for 60 yards in the first half on 14 carries. Caught 3 balls for 56 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's had the ball 17 times in his hand for 116 yards, 2 scores, an average of 6.7 each try. Here's the kickoff into the end zone. Byron Franklin says no deals to bringing that one out, so it comes to the 20 and a touchback. 1st and 10 Buffalo. Next week the Bills head down to Texas Stadium to try on the Cowboys. The Browns really get the scheduling award, though. They've had it a little easier the last couple of weeks, beating New Orleans and Baltimore. Now that Buffalo this week, to Denver, to San Francisco. The 49ers, John, your old friends, are really something.
Well, they're beating Pittsburgh 10-0 at half, and I guess a lot of people are surprised, but they really shouldn't be, even though Pittsburgh's great at home. And that's what makes it tougher for a Cleveland. You think you're going to have a breather, and you get a team that's leading the division, and maybe as tough a team as there is in the game, and it really changes your degree of difficulty.
Now we have the Bills on offense with Ferguson at quarterback. 1st and 10 from their 20. Buffalo leading 13-3. Joe Cribbs picking up right where he left off. Tries to turn the corner, but there's not much there. Browns contain on the wide run. In the offensive backfield with Joe Ferguson and Joe Cribbs. Curtis Brown is the fullback. That is a need at Buffalo, the big fullback. Thought they had one in the draft, but he's ill right now. Booker Moore from Penn State. Butler and Lewis, the wide receivers. Mark Bramer, the tight end. Jones, Borchardt, who stepped in for injured Reggie McKenzie and played very well in recent days. Will Grant, Dobler, and Devlin, the linemen. Browns set up their defensive front 3 with Alzado at one end, Marshall Harris at the other. Henry Bradley is down over the nose of the center. 2nd down and 8. Ferguson to Cribbs. He's so quick. Turns outside, puts his head down, and gets to the 26-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 4. Clarence Scott's made a lot of tackles from the strong safety. Made that one.
Well, Don, when your strong safety has to make a tackle 6 yards down the field, your defense is getting beaten a little.
There's the defensive front 3. Good linebackers on the Cleveland Browns, particularly Clay Matthews, 57 at the right outside.
And Ambrose.
Yeah, Ambrose right next to him. Bolton and rookie Hanford Dixon at the corners. Darden and Scott the safeties. Darden with his third interception earlier in this game. Buffalo has converted 55% of its third down tries. Cleveland's defense was only allowing third down conversions at the rate of 29% through the first half of the season. Roland Hooks runs the ball. He didn't get there. Hooks looking for a 3rd and 4 run, and he got about 1.
You mentioned Clay Matthews. He's responsible for forcing the Bills to punt. He was sitting in a play where he thought it was going to be a pass, and the good running backs can pick up that extra yard if you don't have them contained upstairs. That time Clay got there a little bit late, but held him from going across the 30-yard line. Same play they ran effectively in the first half. This time it's Roland Hooks. Looks like he's going to make a pretty good play of it. Cribbs couldn't handle him.
Matthews came out of Southern California the same year that Earl Campbell came in the draft. Browns had Matthews rated the 4th best player in the country. Picked him high in the first round. They think they have an all-pro now in his 4th year. Big and fast, 6'2", 230. Here's the snap and the punt by Cater of Buffalo. A high punt, angling down. Dino Hall doesn't like the fair catch, but in this case he has to at the 33-yard line. And there the Browns go on offense for the first time in this game. A week ago, the Browns rolled up 42 points against an inept Baltimore defense. Cleveland set some records. Brian Sipe passing for over 400 yards, 444 to be exact.
And you can bet at halftime, Don, they were talking about, hey, is what we're trying to do going to be effective if we execute better? I think they'll change what they're trying to do a little bit earlier. And I think they'll go to a little bit more short passing game.
Well, we're going to find out now. They have Feature out wide to the right. Rucker comes to the right. Logan to the left. He's not been heard from. Dave Logan, a great player, playing with cracked ribs. Mike Pruitt on the run doesn't get much. Spatted ahead for 2 yards. Sipe with Greg and Mike Pruitt, no relation, in the backfield. Logan and Rucker and the wideouts. Ozzie Newsome, the tight end. He came in having caught 42 through the first 8 games, Ozzie Newsome.
I think it'll be interesting, Don, to note right now. Here's the 4-man line again. Ken Johnson's come in replacement of one of the linebackers. They've been getting great pass rush from it. Let's see how it works.
Charles White is now in the Browns' backfield, along with Mike Pruitt. Mike Pruitt gets the ball, and Buffalo's defense is just excellent. Ken Johnson got him first. 91.
Well, what you do is you'd like to, when you have a fella like that, you'd like to say, hey, if he's such a good pass rusher, let's either trap him or let's run a draw play. They tried to trap him. They had no case.
How much do you think they missed Tom DeLeon? It would think a lot, John, the way they've been running the ball not very well.
Oh, I think you always miss an all-pro center. You miss a center when he's been in that group for a long time, no matter whether he's all-pro or not. Doesn't matter how good Sullivan is. He hasn't worked with this group, and coordination is tough.
3rd down and 8 for Cleveland at the Browns 34. We had motion on the right side of the line. Logan left early. Ryan Sipe was sacked. Ken Johnson got through and got him his 8th sack of this season. These guys don't want to know about this Johnson. Last week he just ate up Greg Morton.
And we saw a flag on the play. It was offsides. They'll decline it. But when you take a look at the effect one man has, Johnson comes in the ball game. He's working.
Offense decline.
All right, he forces Sipe out of the pocket. He doesn't get credit for the sack. The rest of them do.
So Steve Cox is in to punt again. Last week here in Buffalo, we saw 21 punts in that defensive struggle between the Broncos and the Bills.
Peter hasn't kicked so many, but Cox is getting a real workout.
Not too well this time. Cox hits one off the side of his foot, but it does take the good bounce, and Byron Franklin knocks it out of bounds. So the Bills go on offense for the first time in the second half with 11:36 to play in the third quarter. Buffalo continuing to lead as they did at halftime, 13-3. We'll be back to Rich Stadium after this. You've got to play hurt in this league. Even the cheerleaders today.
They wouldn't have any trouble getting volunteers.
Now we have the Steelers running back a Montana interception, 58 yards by Mel Blunt, so they trail San Francisco 10-7. Joe Ferguson starts out first and 10, a quick out to Butler. Ken Jones is in front. Butler gets ahead. That balance and all that athletic ability, when it looked like he was caught, he springs ahead for what might be first down yardage. He got a first down.
This is what's so nice when things are going your way. A little diversification. They've been able to run the ball. He fakes a little run action. That means now Matthews isn't into his pattern as fast as he'd like. He comes over and tries to catch Butler. Just gets his hand on him. Takes a swipe at his helmet. Doesn't stop him. He picks up the first.
You better get him, too. There's about 5 guys in the world that are faster than he is. I don't know if Clay's one of them. Right? Butler's caught 4 now for 67 yards. First and 10 Buffalo from the 45. Curtis Brown puts his nose into where it's not much room to stick it. Gets it out to the 48. Trying to walk it off now, the Buffalo Jills.
I told you, she'd get some volunteers.
Seattle, coming off a 19-3 upset of the Jets last Sunday, now moves on to Green Bay and leads the Packers 14-7 in the second quarter. Jim Zorn just passed to Dan Dorning for a touchdown for the Seahawks. Blitz is picked up, and here comes Kramer, the tight end. Watch him put his head down. He's a crasher, and he's down to the 42-yard line for a Buffalo first down in a 2nd and 7 play.
Don, sometimes you get a 12th man working for you. That time, it was simply Clay Matthews, who's great on pursuit, but as soon as the reverse was coming, he's trying to watch the play itself. He jumped onto Harris, knocked him down, and there was nobody left to pursue the thing. Good play by Dixon, or it would have gone farther.
Big tight end from Michigan State, Mark Kramer. Came in the 3rd round. He's been a pro from his rookie year. Front line, he can block. 9:25 to play, 3rd quarter. Bills with the ball, 1st and 10. Moving now into Cleveland's end of the field. Ferguson wants it in a hurry, goes out. Curtis Brown gets one hand down the ball. It'll be 2nd down and 10. It's a hard one to complete, isn't it, John? People would think because it's short, it's easy.
I think what happened right there is Curtis tried to take the ball on a dead run. He knew he had a little running room. Took his eye off, but I know you can catch the ball with one hand. You see guys catching one-handed all the time. I believe he could have had 2 on there, and maybe they'd have a first down again.
Second down and 10 coming up for Buffalo. The 41-yard line of Cleveland. 9:16 to play in the 3rd quarter. Joe Cribbs goes in motion.
He's got what he wants to.
Picking up that blitz so well. That time, Henry Bradley went up in the air and swatted it down like a tennis ball. Forehand smash.
A little bit of confusion there, Don. Earlier in the ball game, we saw Cribbs run a 58-yard touchdown. This time he's got Cribbs in motion again. Goods out there on him, but there was a little bit of confusion earlier. They didn't know whether to take him with a linebacker or the back. Look for him to go down the field again.
Ryan Saifu had his problems in the first half, getting set to come back out if the Cleveland defense can hold Buffalo now with a 3rd down and 10 play coming up at the 41-yard line of Cleveland. Bills are out of field goal range here. The wind is blowing into the face of the offense.
Oh, he's got 80.
It away. He's got Jerry Butler. He's got very close to a first down. Depends where they spot the ball. He had to get it inside the 31-yard line. They're going to spot it there. It's going to be a first down.
That's a beautifully conceived play. They have seldom run the same play twice. They've got people moving all over the field, trying to get a little confusion in the defensive backfield, and they've created a little bit. That time Cribbs was a clean-out man. Butler was underneath. Ferguson hit him right on the break. When you do that, there just is no defense in the game can handle you.
Bills get the big 3rd down play, and now they have the ball just inside the 31-yard line of Cleveland with 8:30 to play in the 3rd quarter. Buffalo leading 13-3. Don Criqui with John Brody, Orchard Park, New York. 80,000 are watching these longtime rivals go at it, and here comes Joe Cribbs on the pitch back. Breaks tacklers and eases inside the 25-yard line. Some of those Brown defensive coaches liken Joe Cribbs to Walter Payton. They say his running style is identical. Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WGR TV2 Buffalo.
7:57 to go in the third quarter. The Buffalo Bills leading the Cleveland Browns 13-3. And the Bills now have the ball after the good gain by Joe Ferguson on the run inside the Cleveland 25-yard line, down close to the 24. Frank Lewis goes wide right. Jerry Butler comes on the left flank. Pitch back to Cribbs. Look at those blockers. Free ball. The receiver was whistled in. If it was not, the Browns have the football. So the Browns defense stops the drive, and Cleveland comes up with the ball on the fumble recovery.
And they're going to get 15 yards also. There was a little complaining about the change of possession.
Big turnover. Looked like Buffalo was going to go in and put this game on ice. They'd have gone up 20-3 if they were able to score and hit the subsequent extra point.
Don, this is the sort of thing that Cleveland has been putting themselves in a hole by doing. Robert L. Jackson is one of the prime offenders. They got 4 or 5 unsportsmanlike conduct calls last week. They've done it throughout the course of the season. They haven't had any today. They get a big break here.
The ball was recovered by the defense. Been a dead ball, personal foul against the defense. First down.
Well, Don, you said they bend but they don't break. That was a big one.
It was a real big one. Now the Browns go on offense, and we'll be back with Cleveland offense after this. The Browns defense comes up with the second turnover of this day. You recall Darden's interception, and now the fumble recovery by the Cleveland defense. So the Bills drive a stop, and here's Brian Sipe to throw. First and 10, lots of time. Pump faking, time running out. Long ball. Ozzie Newsome's out there. Too much on it. Took some time.
Don, we saw Sipe throw the ball 45 yards, almost 50 yards down the field to Newsome. The reason it looked like a broken play, right here, Newsome trips on the defensive end. He's the primary receiver. He would have been right in the hole. Sipe was looking to him the whole way. Now because he has a lot of protection and Newsome's trying to create a space, he comes way out here. This play was dead once he fell down. They haven't gone to him all day. You darn near know they've got to get to him for their offense to be effective. They tried and failed.
Miami opens up a 24-10 lead now. Woodley has just thrown to tight end Ronnie Lee for a touchdown. Atlanta knocking New Orleans down 31-10.
Look out.
Flat. Ooh, man. Mario Clark puts the hard hit on fullback Mike Pruitt. On a 2nd and 10 play, they got about 5.
All right, when you play a loose zone, you'd never be in a position to come back on Pruitt as swiftly as Clark was. That time he saw the ball the whole way, got off his primary coverage responsibility, and kept it to a 5-yard gain. I think more than anything, what that typifies is how alertly the Bills are playing.
William Miller, a big back, comes in now. Good pass catcher. He replaces Mike Pruitt. Greg Pruitt is also in the backfield, the best pass catcher of the Cleveland backs. Ryan Sipe takes a look. The rush closes down. He goes out to Cleo Miller. He's got a head of steam and a first down. He's not done yet till he's down to the 42-yard line of Buffalo. Well done by the Cleveland Browns as they get the ball down to the Buffalo 42, converting the third down for a 16-yard gain.
That is the sort of thing that you know you're going to your trail back the whole way. Miller was playing on the right side, came all the way across the zone, let the fullback clean out the area, got enough pass protection to let the defense drift back. When he got it to Miller, he had 10 yards of running room to work with, and they pick up a first.
Sipe did a great job looking that defense away.
That's right.
Too.
He knew he was coming the whole way, but he didn't give it away.
That was Cleveland's first third down conversion of this game. Browns trail 13-3.
He's got it.
Ricky features out. Rucker is out there, and the ball is broken up. Here's a marker down. So the Browns will have it first and goal inside the 5-yard line, a penalty marker on the Bills. And all of a sudden, Cleveland's ready to close this one up real tight.
How did it all start, Don? Fumble?
Yep.
Personal foul? Couple good breaks? That time it was a wounded duck.
Browns are never out of the game. Mario Clark moves into Reggie Rucker before the ball came down.
We've seen feature in Rucker's spot throughout the day.
Number 29, first down.
And, I mean, Rucker made a beautiful move, which put Clark in a bind. He knew he was beaten. If the ball had been there, he'd have been beaten for a touchdown. He was able to catch up, couldn't find the ball. Ruled to be interfered.
38 yards. inside the 10-yard line.
Don, that's the second time today we've seen Brian Sipe get tripped up coming out from underneath the center. That's one of the things we were talking about when you talk about coordination. Sullivan hasn't been there. His steps are different than DeLeon's. When you have a situation like that, it might have been the guard, but it all has to do with coordination. Nope, he got stepped on. His right foot got stepped on. He couldn't pull it away, and I'll bet you 20-1 that Sullivan's the guy that stepped on it.
That'll slow you up when somebody steps in.
Yeah, it's hard to move.
Now it's a different down and distance. Second down and goal from the 13-yard line. Sipe gets in, gets time. The ball is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It'll be third down and goal from the 13. He was looking at Logan, but a Bills got a hold of it. It looked like it might have been Schmerlis. 76.
I'll tell you, these guys put their hands up great. When they play that three-man defense, you can't get a lot of pass rush, but they always know when the quarterback's going to throw. Blindly, he puts his hands up and blocks it. And that's pretty good play.
That was some play. Schmerlis, who was all-pro quality, went to the Pro Bowl as a starter at middle guard last January. Did not start off that well this year. The last 2 weeks, he's been better than he was last year. Out of Boston College, Fred Schmerlis. Now the Browns have a big down. Third down and goal from the Buffalo 13-yard line. Side pass time. He's got a man in the end zone. Here's a penalty marker down.
Newsom caught the ball.
He did catch it.
I think they got caught, though. That's twice.
It's a hold against Cleveland. That is right. That is 2 times end zone plays have come back.
You remember we said in 100 and some odd plays they hadn't had a good penalty called against the other team's offensive line for holding. Twice holding calls have saved them from touchdowns.
Number 65, offense, third down.
Henry Shepard.
Henry Shepard recently returned from the injury list.
Take a look at the left side. Now, once that defender gets by you, you cannot hold your left arm out and keep him from attacking the passer. This was perfectly defensed, but great execution would have scored a touchdown. They were in and out, and Newsom, he still came up with a ball.
I'm surprised Sam isn't talking to himself at this point.
Oh, Sam can handle it, but boy, he's having to put up with it right now.
So now the Browns are set back to the Buffalo 22-yard line. The hold is third down and goal from there. It's turning into a long pass play. Into the end zone it goes. Dave Logan goes up. He's out of the end zone when he comes down. Boy, that was close. Logan at 6'5" is such a spectacular athlete.
Hurt himself too, Donnie.
He came in hurt, playing with a cracked rib. Fourth down now. One earlier. This will be a 39-yard attempt. Paul McDonald holds. Plenty of distance. Looks like it's there. It is. So Matt Barr drills one through the middle. The Browns don't get the touchdown after having a first and goal at the 3, but they do get points, and the game tightens up more. It's now a 13-6 game. Cleveland kicks off when we come back. The Browns get the field goal from Matt Barr, and now they're ready to kick off in a 13-6 game, a 7-point lead for Buffalo. The mixed extra point early in the game has become a big factor now. Byron Franklin at the goal line. Rookie from Auburn across the 20, across the 30, and out to the 33-yard line. He's a flyer, Byron Franklin.
Don, you think it's any bargain to run those kickoffs back? This is what it looks like. There's a stadium full of people, one ball coming down, and a whole lot of people interested in what you're going to do. Now, this guy's got all the talent in the world, and I think they've got him on punts, they've got him on kickoffs. When he gets a little bit better at making the right decision at the right time, they have a real threat.
Well, the Browns remember him from the preseason, this rookie from Auburn, Byron Franklin. He caught one for about 83 for a touchdown in the preseason game. First and 10, Buffalo. You recall they drove so well. Their first possession of the third quarter, got down close and then fumbled it away. Now Ferguson throws and Lewis catches at the 46. As good a pass-catch combination with the timing factor as as you're going to see. 12-yard gain.
And is that a hard ball to catch? That's the second real good call in a critical situation that Ferguson's made. On 1st and 10, he's trying to come out to the side. If they keep their linebackers from moving outside underneath, he's going to throw it out to Frank Lewis. Bolton had no play on the ball, but Lewis made a great catch.
The Jets have extended their lead to 16-0 over the Giants. Pat Leahy hit a field goal from 42 yards out. Pitch back. Here comes Curtis Brown. He hasn't had much luck against this Cleveland defense. Now he does, but a penalty marker comes in. You're going to have an offensive hold against Buffalo. Leahy with 3 field goals for the Jets today from 37, 38, and now 42 yards. In addition, Richard Todd threw 39 yards to Wesley Walker for a touchdown. Pittsburgh down 10-0 at halftime to the 49ers, who scored twice quickly in the third quarter. Mel Blount ran back an interception, 58 yards. Bradshaw just threw to Jim Smith for 22 yards for the go-ahead score. Tampa Bay leading Chicago 17-3. Doug Williams to Kevin House, a 51 yards.
72, offense, first down.
Green Bay coming from behind to lead Seattle now. David Whitehurst has just thrown for 2 touchdowns for the Packers. 21-14. Ken Jones called for the hold. It doesn't happen to him often. It has twice today, and now it's going to be first down and 15 for Buffalo. 41-yard line to the Bills. Ferguson, deep drop, has some time, runs out of time, lets her rip. Frank Lewis in a foot race, turns inside the 40, inside to the 30-yard line. James Harris, John, the great quarterback at Grambling who played with Frank Lewis, said he's the finest athlete he's ever seen.
Well, I agree with him, and this is a perfect indication. This time Frank Lewis was covered when he made his break. He came underneath the safety. Clarence Scott had 3 guys sitting right with him. Look, let's take a look. When he makes his break, they've got him covered, folks. He cuts underneath Clarence Scott. He gives Ferguson a chance to find him, stay with him. We mentioned he gets open as well as anybody in the game. Once he catches it, he also knows what to do.
Great replay as Frank Lewis at age 34 still running away from people. Still has the great speed. 3:34 to go third quarter. 28-yard gain. First and 10 Buffalo. To the run to Curtis Brown looking for a hole and finds one. He gets down to the 26-yard line. Curtis Brown got 5. It'll be 2nd and 5, and Buffalo's right back where they were not that long ago, only to fumble. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League is prohibited. 2nd and 5 from the 26-yard line. Jim Richer in for Connie Dobler at right guard. Ferguson goes to the run to Curtis Brown. Fumble! Cleveland has it. Clarence Scott gets the ball. So the Browns again stop the Bills with a turnover. Clarence Scott comes up with the ball for Cleveland. You can hear those Cleveland fans, the 30,000 of them.
Well, it looks like an instant replay. This is where the last drive started. The only thing missing is the personal foul.
The Bills having a problem holding on, and the Cleveland Browns very happy to take over the ball. The Cleveland coach said during the week that he was concerned about SIW, self-inflicted wound, but it's the Bills offense that's been self-destructing here in the third quarter. 2 fumbles, stop long drive. Now Bryant, strike, free ball. Cleveland has it, I think. The Browns have the ball, but all the way back to their 6-yard line. Sipe is down. He was really lovely. They're calling for help from the sideline. He took a shot right in the ribs.
I can't be sure, Don, but it looked like one of those linebacker blitzes again.
It was Lucius Sanford. He's a knockout tackler, 57, a Georgia Tech linebacker.
All right, we've got Jim Haslett. Let's see how fast he gets back there. He's just running. He's creating the situation. He's got DeFleur. He's also got Charles White hung up. That allows Sanford to get back there and make the play. You don't ever put two blockers on one linebacker. They did that. So it happened to Sipe.
Sanford with clean shot. He hit Brian Sipe like a tackling dummy. We'll be back in a moment. Report that Brian Sipe is up and he looks fine. I don't know what he has on under that shirt, a flak jacket and a bulletproof vest.
I'll tell you what he's got down. He's got a heart that extends beyond the shoulder lengths.
He has that, there's no question. Second down and 26 for Cleveland. Paul McDonald in for a play.
You all better be careful.
He grounded the ball. Is that going to be intentional grounding from the end zone? It's an automatic safety.
Well, I wonder if it is a safety. They're going to give it to him.
Safety.
Had he held the ball, Don, it would not have been a safety.
Forward pass in the end zone. Safety.
So Brian Sipe's brief absence is expensive. And the Bills are beneficiaries of a 2-point safety. Intentional. Any offensive foul committed in the end zone is a safety.
Don, what happened is he was about to fall over the goal line back onto the playing field, and they would have given him the ball at the 1-yard line. But because they had him in their grasp, and he threw the ball here, now he throws the ball as he's falling down. He's in the end zone, but had he held onto the ball, it would have been on the 1.
Makes a big difference in the texture of this game now. From a 7-point lead, the Bills' advantage goes to 9, and they get the ball back. Cleveland free kicks from the 20. You can place kick, drop kick, kick it sidewinder. Chuck Knox wants somebody out of there. Rob Riddick.
I think he wants somebody in there more than that. He's got Byron Franklin back there to receive it.
They always punt because it gets up high and gives the coverage time to get down. Roland Hooks and Byron Franklin are there. Steve Cox ready to punt the ball from the 20. Free kick after the safety. Intentional grounding in the end zone by Paul McDonald of Cleveland. 2:17 to go in the third quarter. 15-6 Buffalo. Oh, what a punt that was. That might be the longest ever. Over the shoulder, Byron Franklin takes it. Heads up. That's where he started out. Oh, man. Eddie Johnson, a special team standout from Kansas. 51 came down to make that hit.
He kicked that ball 77 or 8 yards. Now that's making it move a little bit.
I thought that was leaving here. That thing was up in the wind.
I think he got about a net 58.
Wind blowing out of the southwest today. Usually it sweeps down from Canada across the nearby border 3 miles away here in western New York.
You ought to know.
Sir, over the mighty Niagara. This town's buzzing over the Buffalo Bills. Has been for 2 seasons. Up the middle they go. There's another fumble, and Cleveland has the ball again. Tom Darden has his second recovery as an interception, you'll remember earlier. Now a fumble recovery. And the Cleveland Browns get it right back at the Buffalo end of the field.
You know, these things tend to do more than just give the ball over to the other team. They tend to get your offense doubting itself. This is the 3rd time in 3 drives they've given up the ball, and the Browns are in scoring position.
Runs the ball, and he's going to be close to the 15 and now to the 13-yard line before they get him down. Charles Romes finally ran him down as the Browns threatening to tighten this game up, trailing 15-6, but beneficiaries of another fumble recovery.
Darn right. You give a guy enough breaks, he's going to get up off the canvas. This time, number 82, Ozzie Newsome, made a good block at the point of attack. When your tight end can both catch the ball and do the blocking that he did on that play, you've got some. They've got a first inside the 15.
Greg Pruitt at 5'8", 190 pounds, built like a little tank. Fast as the wind. First and 10, back to Pruitt. The do-it Pruitt takes it inside the 10-yard line to the 9, and he's thrown back.
Well, if the play works once, let's try it again the other way. They're in a strong right formation. Ozzie Newsome, it looks like it's quite loaded over there. He jumps around the side. Really doesn't have to do anything but stand in front of Ben Williams, but he does it effectively, and he picked up 5.
This is turning into a real good one, just like we like it, as the game clock in the third quarter is down to 47 seconds left. 15-6 Buffalo, but the Browns are challenging. Second down and 6 from the Buffalo 10. Back to the run. Smurlus gets the man. Mike Pruitt tried to slant. He got all 270 pounds of Fred Smurlus. Virtually no gain.
It's funny how things change from game to game. We saw Cleveland just push the Steelers around up at the line of scrimmage. Today it's worked the other way around. The Bills are beating them at the line of scrimmage. As a result, they've got to fool them every time to make yards.
That's going to be the final play of the third quarter, and at the end of the third quarter, the score is the Buffalo Bills 15, the Cleveland Browns 6, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Tom DeLeon, Pro Bowl center for the Cleveland Browns. He'll be gone for 6 weeks, maybe the whole season. Cracked a bone in his ankle in last week's win over Baltimore.
Right down here, that's when it's so important.
Third down, Cleveland. At the 9-yard line of Buffalo, third and 6. Opening play of the fourth quarter. Side blocks, he gets it away. It's intercepted by Buffalo. Bill Simpson has the ball. To the 20, to the 30. And this former All-American from Michigan State takes the ball all the way back across the 45-yard line, out to the 49, and again, the Bills defense rises up.
Another occasion where the free safety just fools the quarterback. We saw Darden fool Ferguson. Now we're seeing Simpson fool Sipe. He's playing the play all the way. Sipe thinks he's out of the play. Nope. Once he gets it, he knows what to do with it too, Don.
Yes, he does. Bill Simpson, super player, super person, and he's a great leader on this Buffalo team. Calling home now to check it out and see if they saw that in Detroit. They did. First and 10, Bills go to the run, and Browns are there. They're looking for that ball right back. They've taken it back 3 times on fumble recovery.
It's been a strange kind of game. It's the kind of game where you don't want to let anybody get you down for a moment.
This guy, hang glider.
Late entry.
He's not in from Cheektowaga. You know where that is, don't you?
Yeah, I know this whole area, Don.
Well, Mayor Jimmy Griffin has told me he's going to give you honorary citizenship papers. You've been here so much. Second down and 7 now for the Buffalo Bills, just across midfield. Bills lead 15-6 fourth quarter. Down inside the 45-yard line. Frank Lewis, the intended receiver.
We see Ferguson walking away with his head down. He can throw better than he just threw that ball. You get a guy coming across the middle. If you don't hit him in the breadbasket, it's very hard to adjust to the ball. He threw it a little hard and behind him.
26 throws for Ferguson, has completed 12 for 224 yards and 2 touchdowns. Says the excellent arithmetician Joe Costanza. Third down and 7. Ferguson throws, man is there, but a little long. Lewis was held up by the defense. And for Dixon doing a good job on the coverage. Art Modell, the president of the Cleveland Browns for these last 21 years, says he thinks every division could come down to the final week of play. It very well might. It gets interesting again next week in the 10th week of play, an NBC doubleheader day, featuring games like the Cleveland Browns versus the Broncos at Denver. Oakland goes to Houston, Cincinnati at San Diego. The Jets play at Baltimore, Pittsburgh at Seattle. Right now, the Bills are ready to punt it back to Cleveland. The Browns down 15-6 in the fourth quarter. Been a lot of time left, 13:57. Somebody left early on the Buffalo left flank, Rufus Bess. Browns get a free play here. They'll probably want that punt over.
How many times do you see number 42 on the other end of a great special teams play?
Rod Cush from Omaha, Nebraska.
this one's coming back.
Fun guy. What a player.
Well, he's been, how big was he last week? I mean, he made about 5 plays on the quarterback, some at the line of scrimmage. He's a 5th defensive back. He's a great special teams player. You want to make some fair catches when he's coming after you.
Offside, number 28, offense, 4th down.
So they'll try it again. There's the scores coming in. Cincinnati, boy, there's something at home. We saw them run up a 34-0 score on the the Pittsburgh Steelers a few weeks ago, and then win 34-7. Giants get on the board. Beasley Reese, fumble recovery in the end zone, 16-7 in the 3rd quarter. Jets in the lead. Greg Cater ready to punt the ball for Buffalo.
I'm going to watch Rod Bush again.
He's heading down the middle of the field. Be no play on that one, though. Into and out of the end zone.
54-yard punt.
54 yards was the punt. And so now with 13:41 left to play in the game, and the Browns trailing Buffalo 15-6, it'll be Cleveland on offense. We come Buffalo here at Rich Stadium. The Browns need the big play. Their defense has come up with many of them in this game, getting the fumble recoveries to get the offense the ball back.
That's right. You know what they need? They need to use the personality that they have. They need to get Newsome and Logan into the area to catch some passes, and they haven't been able to do it.
Ryan Sipe is looking deep. He's looking for the big play. Now he's looking to get out of trouble, to get out of jail.
Sit down, Brian.
He did all right. 1st and 10 run. Brian Sipe gets it out to the 26. And more importantly, bounces right back up.
Hazlitt on the stop.
Hazlitt got him. Coach Vitigliano, a man who paid his dues, coached at 3 high schools in the New York area, and moved down as an assistant professional coach.
All right, he's got plenty of time to throw. This is one of the rare occasions in which he has, but the secondary's covered all his wide receivers. Here's a sign of an old pro. He gets down because Humiston would have had the top part of his helmet had he not.
2nd down and 4 now for Sipe and the Browns. Big rush. He gets it away. He's got a man there. And pass coverage could have been better by Isaiah Robertson. The ball hit him in the back. Tough to catch it there, but he was right on the man. The ball was there, and Isaiah Robertson had him like a glove.
But you know what Greg Pruitt did very well? If that ball had missed Isaiah, he'd have caught it. But what he did well is he didn't give away the fact the ball was coming. Usually a receiver, you can see in his eyes when the ball's coming. He gets excited, they get bigger, and it tells the linebacker to turn around and look for it. That time he held it off. Sipe hit Isaiah in the back, or it would have been a fine play.
Ryan Sipe has now completed 6 of 23 for 102 yards. He's been intercepted twice. Turnovers have been a very important part of this game. We've probably not seen the last of it. 12:54 to go. 3rd down and 4. Over the middle. Greg Pruitt's open. 1st down, Cleveland. Greg Pruitt's not done yet. Now he is. Get him at the 34 and sit on him.
Well, Isaiah Robertson chased him from the time he ran his pattern until he finally went down.
Darcy Bell, please call ball. Darcy Bell.
12:30 left to play in the game. Sam Rutigliano, the Cleveland coach, checks the playbook.
8-yard game.
What do we go to now?
You know, the surprising thing is that Cleveland really is still in the ball game. Time after time, the Bills have put on drives only to fumble the ball away. There's a 9-point differential, but as you said, Cleveland hangs in there. They put one drive together. They're only 2 back.
Ryan Sipe stands in, swings it out. Pruitt goes for the ball and loses it on a 1st down play.
Mike Pruitt, the intended receiver.
New Orleans still trailing Atlanta 34-10. Green Bay now tied up by Seattle. Uwe Van Schauman kicked the field goal for Miami. They've extended their lead to 27-10 over Baltimore. Jim Zorn passed again to Dan Dorning for a touchdown for Seattle's last score that gives them a 21-21 tie at Green Bay. Sipe completing only 28% of his passes today. Came into the game completing 58%. Stands in, goes long. Ozzie Newsome is out there, and Ozzie loses the ball, but he does draw the interference foul on Rufus Betts. The play comes to the Buffalo 30, and the Browns
they could have kept running and kept running and kept running. Newsom now sees the ball. Best doesn't, but keeps running and restricts his opportunity to catch the ball, and that's why it was called. It was a very close, marginal call. It's the kind of thing that turns ball games around.
Rufus giving away a little size there. He looked like Ozzy's son running along next to him. Now it's first and 10 at the 30-yard line. Throws it right through him. The ball comes inside the 25-yard line down to the 22. And the game clock shows 11:46 left to play. Jim Haslett and Mike Humiston combined on the tackle for the Buffalo Bills. Bills leading this game 15-6. They led 13-3 at halftime. Browns have outscored Buffalo 3-2 in the second half. Browns hit a field goal. Matt Farr got it. Bills got a safety when Paul McDonald threw an intentionally grounded ball from his own end zone. Now it's second down and 2 for the Browns. 22-yard line of Buffalo. To the run, and they've got the first down and more as the fullback Mike Pruitt takes it ahead. Coming into the game, averaging 4.5 a rush, over 500 yards in the first half of the season, on target for a third straight 1,000-yard rushing year. Mike Pruitt.
Don, this is where it's been tough for Cleveland. They've been down here a few times, and except for a couple of called back pass completions, they haven't been able to get anybody free. If you can't get somebody free down there, you're not going to run the ball, at least as a regular diet on Buffalo down close.
First and 10 for the Browns. 15-yard line of Buffalo. Sight looking into the end zone. Now he's got a problem. Here comes the rush. There goes the ball. It's a wobbler.
He caught that thing.
They rule he's out of bounds. That was Dave Logan. If he caught it with his feet, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I don't know if we'll be able to see the play because he made such a great catch you could hardly stay with him all the way. Look, we do have it. He falls to the ground knowing that if he catches it, he wants to have his feet in. I'm sorry, folks. I thought they were in.
So close. We're going to look at that again.
Well, I'm sure that the official rule, his feet were off the ground when he caught it because he couldn't have missed the fact that both feet were definitely inside of the out-of-bounds stripe. He slid. He ruled his feet were up in the air or that he was bobbling the ball. We could not see it that well, but it was a fine try.
Live action now. Handoff goes up the middle on second down and 10 from the 15-yard line. The Browns on the run take the ball down to the Buffalo 12. Game clock down to 10:15 and running. Buffalo continues to lead 15-6. Buffalo's defense has risen up time and again here in the second half to stop the Browns. Now Cleveland down close again.
Here's a play that's coming in from the sideline, Don. Reggie Rucker, who really hasn't been playing an awful lot today. Feature's been playing most of the wide receiver. Brought him a play from Sam. Let's see how it works. You can bet it's not a draw.
Not on 3rd and 7 for Cleveland.
They're coming. They're all coming.
Oh, Brian Sipe gets it away. It's a touchdown, Cleveland. But Brian Sipe was level. He looks up, though, and sees the end result. Touchdown, Cleveland. What a play. Ozzie Newsome on the payoff end.
Well, that's what a great quarterback can do on a bad day. He hasn't been effective all day long. He sees the safety blitz. You can see it at the line of scrimmage. He knows he better not take as much time as he'd like. He throws the ball while Newsome is still in his pattern. Excellent reception and a touchdown. Sam will get credit for the call, but I think the execution had a little more to do with the touchdown.
Brian Sipe showed that heart you were talking about, John. He stood in there, knew he was going to get level, released the ball, took the hit. He was the last to see the touchdown. The extra point is up and good by Matt Farr, and with 9:41 left to go, it's tightened up to a 2-point game.
Not only does a quarterback have to know how much time he's got to work with, but so does the top wide receiver. Now, Newsome didn't cut his pattern short, but he knew when he turned around he better be looking for the ball because he knew there was no secondary coverage. Because he did so, he got 6 points.
He sure did. Then they got the extra point. Now it's a 2-point game, 15-13. A long way to go. 9:41 to play. Cox kicks off high. It'll be run back, though, by Byron Franklin. This is the sprinter from Auburn. Look at this. He runs away from people and gets it out across the 25. Judson Flint saved a much longer gain. Boy, he just blew by that first wave.
You bet. You see Judson Flint and Eddie Johnson. You just keep your eye on number 51 and number 20 on all the special teams. You'll find the ball.
And the other side, Bush is the guy to look at.
On the 27-yard line.
The Buffalo offense has been unable to move consistently, at least to a payoff. They've moved the ball down the field on 2 occasions, then fumbled it away. Now their lead has been cut to 2 points. 15-13, the Bills lead. First down play, and Ferguson throws it over the middle to Joe Cribbs. When you need a gain, that's where you go, and Joe Cribbs is ahead to the 40. It's a first down. 13-yard gain and a first down.
Another good call. Nobody can accuse Buffalo of trying to hold on to the ball and playing it safe, because they've had 3 possessions. They've run 3 play-action passes. There's no man I'd like to have with the ball on a pass reception than Joe Cribbs. He turns a 6-yard gain into a 12 or 13-yarder. They've got a first down, and they've kind of taken the flow away.
Cincinnati's lead 34-14 now. John Reeves has gone in to quarterback the Oilers, threw for a touchdown to Ken Burrow.
And look at that, baby.
49ers rally back. Walt Easley ran for a touchdown. Joe Cribbs on a first down carry doesn't get too much. Don Good 50 and Clay Matthews, the 2 outside linebackers, looking to contain the perimeter.
Don, when it's incumbent on you to get the ball back, your defensive line and linebackers play very tough. Now, these guys have done so. Clay Matthews hangs in there at the line of scrimmage. They stand Cribbs up. They force him into a throwing situation with a 2nd and 10.
Tampa Bay now leading Chicago 20-10. Miami has won again, so the Dolphins extend their record to 6 victories, 2 losses, and a tie. Jets now lead the Giants 19-7. Ferguson gets it away. Ball is separated as Clay Matthews throws Joe Cribbs into the bench, close to it.
I think they put in a new rule, didn't they, in Cleveland, that if anybody gets caught for a personal foul, it costs them 4 numbers.
4-digit number.
Well, they've lost a couple ball games because of their intensity, and
a little extra withholding, Sam Bertigliano said from those paychecks.
Yeah, Clay came close.
40 Tampa Bay 20, Chicago 10.
Big down now for the Browns defense, the Buffalo offense. 7:46 to play in the game. 3rd down and 10 for the Bills, a 3rd 39. From the shotgun they go. Here's the throw. Joe Cribbs is out there. He catches the ball, and Joe Cribbs is into the end zone for a 3rd time in this game. Another sensational play by the 2nd-year back from Auburn with a perfect strike thrown in by Joe Ferguson.
I think that play says about all that needs to be said about Joe Ferguson. We saw Cribbs on the receiving end of 3 touchdown passes. Each of them were perfect throws. I've mentioned that a lot of guys can play in a lot of stadiums, but for a guy for 10 years to play the way he has in a stadium where the wind's blowing 20, 25 miles an hour about half the time, hit people in dead stride like he has Cribbs 3 times in a row, it's about time somebody stood up and took notice of the guy.
Point was up and good. Well, I can tell you this, John Brody, when someone who played the position 17 years like you did says he's as good as any quarterback in football, it bears note. 7:37 left to go. We'll be back after this. This is Don Criqui back at Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. The Bills, who needed the big play, just got it as Joe Ferguson threw a perfect strike to running back Joe Cribbs. And he completed a 60-yard catch-run play for a touchdown, and now Buffalo has opened up a 22-13 lead. Dino Hall takes it out of the end zone for the Browns. 15. Finally, he is knocked down and hard by Charles Rones, whose lane is the far outside. Every time the play has gone there today, he's made the knockdown. Joe Cribbs, we're going to go over his numbers in a minute. They are Hall of Fame, though. Next Saturday, the Cart Phoenix 150 race. Johnny Rutherford in the field. So is Indianapolis 500 champion Bobby Unser. Rick Mears will be there. So will Al Unser. Then there's also the Mixed Pairs World Bodybuilding Championships. That's all next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. Joe Cribbs has run the ball 21 times for 77 yards. He's caught 6 for 163 yards. That's 27.2 a catch. And, of course, 3 for touchdowns. Now Brian Sipe tries to come back for the Browns. Goes to his outlet fullback, Mike Pruitt. And from the 20 on a first down play, Pruitt gets to the 23. Run out of bounds by Isaiah Robertson. Joe Cribbs has averaged 8.9 yards every time he's touched the ball today, and he's touched it 27 times.
Say he's had a pretty good day.
Woo.
This man hadn't done too badly either.
He's on the phone right next to it. Kay Stevenson, the quarterback coach. I know what you say after that pass.
Yeah, nice going. That's about all you have to say. It wasn't the strategy that won that play.
Did you find over the years, John, a lot of wisdom was passed down that telephone line?
Yeah, I had a guy eating a hot dog once, and he said, throw it to Gene, he's hot.
Knowing Gene Washington, he probably caught it, right?
Yeah.
Brian Sipe throws in the flat, and again he gets his man, but the ball caroms off fullback Mike Pruitt. The third down and 8 coming up for Cleveland with the game clock down to 7:15. Buffalo with a 22-13 lead.
Well, how many games over the last couple of years has Cleveland won in the last minute? They put themselves in a position to really be in it. Now they've got to go out and create the same situation again.
The 163 yards receiving for Joe Cribbs today, John, is the second best ever for a running back.
He may not be through either.
Interested to find out who's the best. Third down and 7. Sipe takes a look. Eludes the rush. Williams goes in on him. Incomplete. He had a man making a play on the ball.
Sipes is hurting again.
Brian Sipe slow getting up, but he's up.
He's up, but he's not walking very fast. It was one of those situations where you're trying to make a good play out of a bad situation.
Now he's gone down again.
And that's how you hurt your leg. I don't think he'll be back today, Don. Got hit low when he was trying to throw.
Brian Sipe, who stood in all day long rallying these Browns back, now goes to the sideline again, this time with a damaged right leg. 7:03 left to play, and Steve Cox, the rookie punter, ready to hit the ball from his end zone. Bills could come out of this with excellent field position. They go for the block, don't get it. Ball takes a hop, Bills will let it roll, and it goes out to midfield and across and down to the 48-yard line of Buffalo, and the Bills offense comes out. So now the defensive unit for special teams are saluted here at Buffalo, and we'll be back after this.
Introducing the 80.
With John Brody, this is Don Criqui back at Buffalo. The Bills opening up a 22-13 lead now after they were challenged, and the Browns came back to within 2.
Well, and now we see the Bills with the ball. All they want is some good ball possession. But Paul McDonald will be back when Cleveland gets it again.
First and 10, the Bills go to the run, and Curtis Brown wraps both arms around that ball. It's been so elusive for the Buffalo backs here in the second half. Takes it across midfield down to the 48-yard line. Dick Ambrose and Lyle Alzado tackled him.
You know who you want to watch at a time like this, Don, is Jim Richer, the guy that was a first draft choice, and he's playing guard now because Will Grant's taken over the center position. He's playing a right guard. Let's just see if maybe he'll be able to make that transition, because he couldn't be in a more difficult situation. Everybody knows they're going to run the ball. They're going to have to go right at them, see if they can control it, run some time off the clock. Number 51.
Second down and 5. fullback back to the straight-ahead run and down to the 45-yard line.
Hey, he did about all he can do when everybody in the house knows you're going to run it, including yourself, to get past the line of scrimmage, to get the ball past the line of scrimmage. Here's Richard, number 51, helps with Will Grant, gets on the linebacker, Dick Ambrose, and holds his position. That's a good offensive guard play.
Bills make some changes now. Offensively with 3rd down and 2 coming up. They send their money back for the short yardage. Roosevelt Leaks. He was a bargain. Came in here for $100. Baltimore waived him. Remember, Cribbs flew over the top earlier in this game. Let's see who gets it. Cribbs. Didn't have to jump. Drives the ball down close to the 42-yard line. Looks like he has a first down.
Gets very close in there. See Richard in a short yardage situation. They didn't elect to go his side. You can see he puckered a little, getting ready for the pop. Made a pretty good hit. They elected to go to the left and picked it up easily, I think. Sam now knows, Don, it's not only the home crowd, the 9-point lead, but the time is winding away.
That clock just started up with the wave of the official's arm. Sam Rutigliano and his Browns backed up now. Buffalo with 4 new downs to run the clock, and the Bills huddling at their leisure, break it. Lewis to the right. Lou Picone comes out wide to the left. First down and 10. To the run to Curtis Brown. Looks like nothing was there, but then there was as Curtis Brown fought his way, got ahead inside the 40 and down close to the 38-yard line. Lyle Alzado and Don Good were on the stop.
In a very tough, precarious situation, the offensive line has done more than their share.
They've really played well. They have. They've come off the ball. Ryan Sipe hobbled on the sideline. Tough way to set up when you go back in.
Trying to see if he can throw. He can't hop back there, I know that.
Second down and 5 now for Buffalo. Curtis Brown breaks the first wave and then takes the ball down to the 26-yard line. He gets a first down, and for the Bills, they run the clock down to 3:50 and running.
Okay, we know Conrad Dover, number 69, has been the right guard. Now they've got Jim Richer in there. You think he doesn't create a hole? I mean to tell you, he's got Henry Bradley back there in the cheap seats. And that is not an easy situation.
Pretty close to a forearm that Clay Matthews delivered to the back of Curtis Brown's neck. Brown is slow getting up. Matthews coming from off the play to make the hit. Coming up next is NFL Report. Byron Day standing by in New York with all the scores and the stories of the opening game of the second half of this season. They're all out here today. Here's
Go Niners!
Bill Groves just handed me a score here. San Francisco has extended its record to 7-2, beating the Pittsburgh Steelers 17-14 at Pittsburgh. I don't remember the last time they lost to Pittsburgh. It's been a while.
Cincinnati takes the lead in that division.
That's right. Houston beat today.
This is one of those times in the ball game, Don, where everybody better hang loose. These guys are doing anything they can to create a fumble.
Matthews delivering that kung fu shot to the neck. Brown's up and all right, and the Bills have a first down. Back to the run they go. Roosevelt Leaks carries the ball and gets it down inside the 20 to the 22. 3:30 left to play in the game. Marshall Harris on the play along with Don Good. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WGR TV2 Buffalo.
Now, there are times in a ball game where you get the feeling it isn't over, even though the team's 9 points behind. You don't get that feeling right now. Buffalo's got control of the line of scrimmage, and they're just eating them alive.
Brown's defense Houston, 34-21 in the fourth quarter. Bengals, as you mentioned, John, about to take the lead solely in the AFC Central. There's the final. The 49ers, what a season they're having. Up their record to 7-2. Started the day with a 2-game lead in the NFC West. Tampa Bay, after losing 5 straight times to the Bears, beat Chicago 20-10.
Don, we were talking about him getting a little forearm, and Curtis Brown really fell on the ball and the wind knocked out of him. They need him. He'll be back. What?
Trick play. Real tricky. The Browns might have the ball again.
Not the time to get too tricky.
Cleveland does it again. Buffalo coughs it up, and Cleveland said, "You." So the Browns get the ball right back. And now they'll start out a long way from the Buffalo goal, 9 points down.
Now, they don't have to do anything fancy here. They've got Roosevelt Leaks in there because he's a surefire, hang-on to the ball type of guy. It was actually a forward lateral. They might have concluded it was a forward pass, so there was no penalty on the play. Cribbs lets it get away. That's their 4th turnover, fumbling the ball in the second half.
We've got a few today that won't make the highlight reel. They will make the blooper reel, though. Jets blasting the Giants at Giant Stadium, 26-7.
Look who's back in the ball game.
You knew it wouldn't be long. Brian Sipe coming back now. The Browns needing his right arm. Sipe stands in, sacked inside the 10-yard line. Dan Williams, number 77, a 6th-year player from Ole Miss, and Sherman White, former number 1 draft choice of the Bengals out of Cal. So we're down to 2 minutes, and now here comes another one of those fantastic finishes. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Don Ohlmeyer. Football coordinating producer Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game has been produced by George Finkel, directed by Andy Rosenberg, technical director Steve Savino, associate director Mary Buda. We thank them all, and also our crew here in the booth: Ed Dorado, Larry Gluck, Larry Pollock, Gary Heller, Ed Becker, and of course to Joe Costanza, our statistician. Now Brian Sipe, looking to run out of trouble, throws the ball upfield. It is caught by Reggie Rucker at the 19-yard line. The time working against the Browns now, and the clock is running, 1:48 to play, and they're in no hurry to let the receiver up.
That's right, but you can bet this team on 4th down and 10 from their own 20 will go for it.
Oh, yeah. It's a 22-13 game. That was Reggie Rucker's first catch of this day. Game clock down to 1:30. Brian Sipe over the middle. Greg Pruitt has the ball. He's quickly caught and contained by the zone defense. The hitman was Isaiah Robertson, and the Browns want one of their 3 timeouts. Now they call it. No, they do not. 1:12 and running. They wasted about 6 seconds getting it off.
That's right. That's something the Browns don't very often do. They use those seconds very well. He's got to figure out, what do we do? He's got to go to the sideline, figure out, hey, number 1, if we pick up the first down, we don't really have the option to call a timeout. We've got to create something. We've got to call 2 plays right now. You want us to run the ball, then get up? They could run the ball just as well as they could throw it for a completion. I think you'll find them running the ball, getting up, coming back, coming with a play, down the field, hoping for an interference. That's really about the only chance they have. They have to hope for something big, mistake-wise, from Buffalo.
It would really take one of those fantastic finishes for the Browns to get out of this one.
Well, they've done it, so you don't count them out, but if they do this one, I'm going to knit them a watch.
4th down and a yard. And the game clock down to 72 seconds. 1:12 to go. Next week, the Bills head to Dallas to meet the Cowboys. Next week, the Browns go to Denver, one of the NBC doubleheader games. The Bengals win again at Riverfront Stadium. And of course, the complete update on all those games, NFL report, Byron Day immediately following the game. Here's the handoff. Brian Sipe goes up the middle of the run to get the first down, which they probably got.
They've got
Game clock down to a minute to go, and Buffalo in the lead, 22-13. Those Buffalo coaches in the next booth are now standing. They know it's not over with.
They like their situation, though.
Got to like it with a 22-13 lead in the game under a minute to go. Ryan Sipe on the run, Ben Williams on the chase. Here's a throw downfield completed to Ozzie Newsome at the 48-yard line.
Oh!
They ruled incomplete. And a penalty marker's down at the line of scrimmage.
That'll be on Buffalo.
Flag down on the field.
Unbelievable schedule ahead for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, you know, if Cleveland's going to do anything, they've got to go to their big gun. Ozzie Newsome's down the field just looking for a hole anywhere. Sipe finds him, can't hang on. That's the way the day's gone.
Offside. Defense.
So it'll be 1st and 5 now for Brian Sipe and the Cleveland Browns, but only 41 seconds left to play in this game. Don Criqui with John Brody. 80,000 were here. The game was sold out weeks ago.
Big Chuck Knox doesn't run a good ship.
Bills had their downswing, won the first 2 games by overwhelming margins, lost 2. People wonder were they going to slump. They've come back. Here's a throw to Ozzie Newsome, and he held on. Newsome got the ball at the 38-yard line, and he still held on. Down to 30 seconds, so the game clock.
Well,
The Browns call a timeout.
He called timeout. They have time, Don, to be able, as we watch Newsome go down the field, they know they've got to get a big break. He caught this ball and took a real good lick, somehow was able to hang on to it. They've got time to throw 4 balls in the end zone, hope one of them hits for a touchdown, kick an onside kick, recover it, get another play, and kick a field goal. They've got a few things to do before they get close.
Well, in all the years that you've played the game and broadcast the game, John, you've seen stranger things. Remember that game at Detroit?
Yeah, I can remember a lot of games that were kind of funny. We played once against Chicago, and we had the same sort of situation. What we did is Monty Stickles, we got him to get in a fight with Joe Fortunato. In the meantime, we're on the sideline trying to figure out what to do. David Parks catches a ball for a touchdown. We run an onside kick, and they're offsides, and we didn't get that one. We get the next one. Then we come in, we get it down to about their 40, and Tommy Davis kicks a field goal. So, I mean, stranger things have happened.
A workmanlike victory.
Yeah, just another day at the plant. Stickles got the game ball.
That's great. First down and 10.
They're playing the 3-8 defense.
That's right. There's more guys in the Buffalo pass defense. Didn't bother Logan. He got it and stepped out of bounds with 24 seconds to play.
Holy moly. Tell you one thing does strike my mind. I doubt that they'll have enough time to do much after they score, but there are a lot of people that are still looking at this ball game, and I know people don't bet, but they do look at the spread.
Yeah, they will check that out, won't they? Now?
That's right.
22-13, the numbers with 24 seconds left to play, and the Browns still looking for that end zone. Well, at the 17-yard line. Ryan Sipe sends 3 people into the end zone. Now he's got to elude the rush. He takes a look. Throws.
Close again.
Well, I'll tell you, it was really close again as Dave Logan planted himself, leaned the ball, Calvin Hill.
Yeah, that was Calvin. If Finkel can see this one, we're going to give him an award. He's in when he catches it, I think, but he was out prior. That makes him an ineligible receiver.
Unless it's been knocked out of bounds on the way. Which
That's right.
Happen.
But
They want to cover the full.
That's right.
14 seconds left, second down.
All right, here's just another indication of how close you have to watch in this game. Had the official just been there at the time of the reception, he'd have given him a touchdown. He was there early enough to see the infraction. Correctly called.
14 seconds to go, and here come the Cleveland Browns. Ozzie Newsome wide left. Ryan Sipe throws hard up in the air. It's intercepted. And the Bills finally nail the lid on as Mario Clark has the ball. Weaving his way upfield. He's going to run out the clock. Down to 1 second second and out, and the game is over. The Buffalo Bills come home with their 6th win of this season, extend their record to 6-3, and remain a half game behind Miami in the AFC East, as the Dolphins were also a victor today easily over Baltimore. And the Cleveland Browns record falls to 4-5, heading to the coast or to Denver next week, then to San Francisco.